Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our first virtual summer visit day for the New York City campus. My name is Michelle Chavez, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions for, you guessed it, New York City. We know that choosing the right college can be a long journey. So on behalf of the PACE community, thank you for considering PACE in your college search. Our admissions team is looking forward to working with you throughout the application process. We also know how important the college visit is to the process. So we have been working really hard to plan a program today that allows you to get to know PACE from the student's perspective and includes a live tour of our beautiful campus and state-of-the-art facilities. I think you're gonna like it, so let's get started. This afternoon, I have the honor of introducing our president, Marvin Crislaw. Marvin is a huge advocate for our students and puts their success at the forefront of our mission. He is actively engaged in the campus community in the classroom and teaching at least one course each semester, and outside of the classroom at our many student events. Please give a warm virtual welcome to Marvin.
Thank you, Michelle. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Virtual PACE University. This is an unusual time, I know, but I also know that you're making the most of it. You're resourceful, you're resilient, you're plowing ahead, and you're here. You're great students, and you're going to be great college students. So it's my job today to tell you why you should be great PACE University students. PACE is a special place. If we were on campus today, we'd welcome you to our beautiful new student spaces in One PACE Plaza. We unveiled that transformation last year, and it's just part of the first phase of a major overhaul of our New York City campus. The new One PACE Plaza has beautiful, big glass walls looking out over New York. And I think it's a great metaphor for our educational model we believe in. Because when you come to PACE University, New York City is your campus. You're in the middle of the city, across from City Hall, next to the Brooklyn Bridge, blocks away from Wall Street, with subway access to everywhere. Being part of the city is key to the PACE path, which is our unique educational model. Through the PACE path, we combine world-class academic instruction with real-world, hands-on experiences that let you do the things you're learning about. It means that when you graduate, you're ready to hit the ground running. We have one of the largest internship programs in the New York metro area, and we have great relationships with leading employers, from the Big Four accounting firms to global tech companies to government offices and important nonprofits. For performing arts students, we have great connections to talent agents and casting directors. Those internships are strong. Even now, many of them are continuing remotely. And we know that the PACE path works. With the help of our amazing Career Services Office, PACE students graduate into great first jobs that start them on amazing careers. The truth is, PACE University will change the trajectory of your life. We have a tight-knit, supportive community, even when we've been socially distanced. We have wonderful, inspiring, committed faculty who care about you. We have small, personalized classes. As Michelle mentioned, I teach myself, and this fall I'm teaching both the UNB 101 class, which is our introduction to the university, and a class on the elections this fall. Most of all, we have amazing students. And I promise you this, all of us, students, faculty, staff, we have all adapted to this new normal. We're living and learning differently, but we're doing it. And we are so excited for the fall to begin. For us, that's Monday. Our faculty are teaching both in person and remotely. Our students are returning to campus even as we speak. Clubs are meeting, activities are happening, people are staying connected, whether it's with Zoom or FaceTime or together in person. So I hope you'll come join us next fall. I know you're going to learn a lot today. I hope you're going to be back for the open houses in the fall and other events we're having as you plan your college applications. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope we'll see you all at PACE very soon. Thank you so much. And now to continue our program, let me turn things over to our New York City admissions counselor, Morgan Theze.
Hello, and thanks so much to Michelle Chavez and our university president, Marvin Krislov, for getting our summer visit day started. Welcome to you all from all over the world from the looks of the chat, and thank you for taking time to learn more about what PACE has to offer. My name is Morgan. I'm an admission counselor on our New York City campus in the Office of Undergraduate Admission. Before we get started, I just wanted to share some quick information that's going to help you get the most out of your experience today. So this event is all about you. We want you to leave feeling like all of your questions have been answered. You have all of the information that you need about PACE, about deciding whether PACE is the right place for you. So while your cameras and microphones have been turned off, we're going to ask you to start using the chat feature if you do have any questions. In there, we have admission staff, tour guides, students who are going to be answering your questions as they come in. I would also recommend just keeping an eye on the chat box, even if you don't ask a question, because there will be valuable information in there, and it's very possible somebody else is going to ask a question that you also have questions about. We're going to do our very best to answer all of our questions today, but we do have a lot of people here for the event. So in the event that we don't get around to your question, we will follow up with you in the next coming days to get that answer to you. We are also recording this event, and it's going to be made available after today on our YouTube channel. So if you're taking notes and missed something, or if you want to review some of the information covered, you'll be able to do that in the coming days. Also, by attending today's summer visit day, you will receive an application fee waiver for applying to PACE this fall. I'll give you more information about that later on in today's event. In a moment, I'm going to pass the screen over to our Welcome Center manager, Kimberly Alonso, and our enthusiastic tour guides who are actually stationed all over our campus right now, ready to give you real-time live looks at our spaces. Campus is going to look a little bit more empty than normal, but as President Krislov said, we're expecting all of our students to be back starting on Monday, so it'll have a little bit more life then, but you'll definitely get a good idea of what it looks like. Once the live tour is finished, we'll be coming back to me, and I'll be hosting a panel with some students so that you'll get to see what PACE looks like and also get to hear what it's about. Following that, we'll have 2 workshops that are going to be helpful in giving you some tips and tools going through the college admission process. The first is going to be about the college application, how to get the most out of it. The second will be from the PACE Career Services Department about how to interview more effectively. And finally, I'll appear once more to wrap up the event. So at this point, I'm pleased to welcome on screen and pass it over to Welcome Center Manager Kimberly Alonso and our incredible tour guides.
Good afternoon. Welcome to PACE. My name is Kimberly Alonso. I'm the Welcome Center Manager for the PACE New York City campus. And some other fun facts about me, I'm also a PACE University alum. I graduated from PACE in 2013 with my degree in Communication Studies, and I minored in Political Science. And I'm also currently a graduate student studying at PACE for my master's in Public Administration. But that's enough about me. To give you an idea of what you will see on tour today, you will see some of our newly renovated student spaces, our science labs, our live-in labs, our cafeteria, our library, and much more. While you're out on tour, make sure you're checking out our socially distanced measures that we're taking, as well as our face masks. And also, if we do have any technology issues, bear with us. We are so excited to be using a bunch of new technology today. But with that said, I'm so excited to hand over the tour to tour guide Tori.
Hey everyone, my name is Tori. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a senior stage management student in the School of Performing Arts. Super excited to graduate this year. I am originally from Northfield, New Jersey, a small town on the coast of New Jersey. And now I am currently residing in my apartment in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. But enough about me, let's get started on the tour. Right now we are standing in our newly renovated student spaces. The renovation was complete about a year and a half ago, so us students have been enjoying them for just a small amount of time so far. Right behind us right now is our Welcome Center. It has floor-to-ceiling windows. It's my personal favorite spot on campus. This is where you would normally come and have your tour. But right now, since everything that is going on, you are seeing us virtually. We are here on campus, and now we can put over to the Spirit Tour. Right over here is the Spirit Store. This is where you can get all of your PACE goodies, ranging from sweatshirts to sweatpants to anything that you want that says PACE on it. You can find it right here. And it's located right in the front of the campus, so you'll never miss it on your way in and out. Us tour guides are here at least one time per shift grabbing a new sweatshirt. And once one tour guide has a new sweatshirt, the rest of us have it about an hour later. So that's one of our favorite spots on campus. Right here is our security desk. You'll hear about security during the tour in just a little bit, so bear with us, but remember this spot right here. Along with that, we are going to head into the student center. This is our student center on campus. Right now, it is set up to be a socially distant classroom, but normally when there isn't tables and chairs in here, this space is used by our wonderful clubs and organizations on campus for many, many different events, ranging from painting nights to winter carnivals. It's where us tour guides like to come and get free food when there's events going on. So you can also take advantage of that as a PACE student as well, and it's a great way to get involved. So this is one of our great spaces on campus. I personally love the floor to ceiling windows that look out onto Spruce Street. So even when you're here on campus, you can get a view of what's going on in the city around us. Along with that, I love to study in this room. It's typically very quiet, and you can always see what's going on. So we can now head out, and I'll show you another space. This space right here is actually quite lively right now. We have some freshmen hanging out who just moved on to campus. You know where. Along with that, as you can see, students can sit and enjoy these spaces singularly or together as a group, whether they're studying or just hanging out. This long black tabling hub right here is exactly what it sounds like, a tabling hub. It's where different clubs and organizations can sit and do tabling, meaning when you're walking in and out of campus, it's easy access to sign up for a club or sign up for an event, which is a great way to get involved. Personally, when there isn't clubs doing tabling here, I like to sit here and work on my studies. It's right across from the Welcome Center, so I am a little biased for my favorite study spot on campus. And each of the little chairs over here has its own outlet. So while I'm sitting there, if my computer ever dies, I always have an outlet right next to me. So you can follow me. We'll see another student space. Right behind me is our Zanino conference room. It is a fully equipped conference room here on campus, and us students use them for different classes or clubs and event organization events where we're bringing in different guests or we're zooming in different guests, and by the end of this, we are all going to be pros at zooming people into conferences, so possibly you'll end up right here in the Zanino conference room doing so one day. You can follow me this way. This is another one of my favorite study spots on campus. You can see these futuristic looking chairs. They're actually soundproof chairs. So if you are someone who requires a little bit of silence to study, but you still want to be around everything that's going on campus, this is a great spot for you. Over here, there are some booths, so if you ever wanted to sit with the group and hang out and do some studying, this is where you can do them. And you might be able to see the stickers on the different couches as abiding by our social distancing rules, so we don't have too many people packed into these booths hanging out or working on some studies. You can follow me this way. All right. Here in this room, typically when the academic semester begins, this is a silent study room. Right now we have two students enjoying a meal together over here. But along with that, this room is completely silent at all times during the academic calendar year. So if you are someone who needs complete silence to study, this is a great place to hide away. Along with that, all of the computers in here are spread out to abide by social distance guidelines. Along with that, there are outlets at each and every spot, so you will never have a shortage of being able to plug in your laptop or your device while you're sitting in here studying. I am now going to pass it over to my friend Alex, who is waiting for you in the active learning classroom.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm originally from Toms River, New Jersey. Here at PACE, I am a senior communication studies major with a double minor in film and screen studies and economics, and I am currently in an active learning classroom. So these active learning classrooms have charging stations all along the walls for students. All of these chairs can swivel around so you can get in groups with your peers. We also have 6 TVs around the room, so then when you're swiveling around getting your groups, you can view your professor's presentation from any area of the room. And we have video conferencing technology in here. So if you need someone that can't come to campus, you can just video conference them right in. We also have lecture hall style classes here at Pace. So those are lecture halls that hold 65 to 85 students, and we have one larger lecture hall that holds 125 students. In these lecture halls, you usually have your introductory courses. So for example, I had a macroeconomics class in there. But what's awesome about Pace is that we do strive for small class sizes. So I had 2 hours of that large lecture hall, and then I had a smaller class of about 20 students in a lab where I was able to get a more in-depth look at the material and be able to talk to my professor and ask them questions that I might have been a little bit nervous to ask in front of that large lecture hall. So here at Pace, our average class size is 20 students, so you really get to know your professors and your peers within your major, which is amazing. All of our professors have a PhD or a terminal degree in their field, and we also have adjunct professors here at Pace. So adjunct professors are professors that work full-time in their field while also teaching at Pace University. So that's really awesome to be able to figure out what they're doing in their real-life career in a classroom setting and figure out if that's maybe something you want to do in your career or if that's something that interests you for your future. This is also a great way to network. So one of my friends is an arts and entertainment management major. Her adjunct professor had a radio show, and she was actually set up with an internship through him at the radio show, and she had an amazing experience. If those internships do spark your interest, we will definitely be going further into career services and internships a little bit further into the tour, so stay tuned for that. Here at Pace, we are a liberal arts school, so we want to make sure that everybody graduates with that well-rounded education that you need. So we have classes called Areas of Knowledge, which are classes in different majors that you can take that are not within your specific major. So for me, as a communication studies major, I took a macroeconomics class because that wasn't an area of knowledge that I needed to fulfill. And now economics is one of my minors. So I think these areas of knowledge are a great way to figure out maybe something that you really like that you wouldn't have done within your major, pick up a double major or pick up some minors like I did. So now to round out this stop, I'm going to tell you a little bit about study abroad. So I actually studied abroad in London fall of this year. It was the best experience of my entire life, so I definitely recommend it if you end up at Pace University. It is so easy for you to study abroad. Every Pace student has the opportunity to do so for 1 semester, for a full year, or for a travel course. So a travel course is when you take a class at Pace, and then during one of the breaks in the year, whether it be summer break, spring break, or winter break, you actually get to go to the country that you learned about and experience the culture, which I think is awesome. The study abroad office makes this super easy for you. You have one-on-one meetings with them to make sure that you've weighed all of your options and that your transition abroad is as smooth as possible. So I think that it was super easy for me. I was really, really happy with my decision, and I definitely recommend doing that if you're interested at all. So with that, I am going to now pass it to Sarah in the Newman School of Business.
Hey guys, my name is Sarah. I am a senior arts and entertainment management major. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm originally from Rochester, New York. Today, you are seeing us on our 4th floor at the Newman School of Business, my home as an arts and entertainment management major. So right behind me, we have our faculty offices through the double doors. Here is a great place to visit any of your professors during their office hours. During office hours, I like to visit my professor, Chris Ramos, who's also the head of our Arts and Entertainment Management program, and we love to sit down, talk about the industry, and also he loves setting us students up with different internship opportunities through his connections. So as we walk over this way, we'll also talk a little bit about our career-focused clubs. So we have a lot of different clubs and organizations here on campus, but we have specific ones that are focused within the business school. So I myself am a part of the Industry Network, which is our Arts and Entertainment Management Club. They're really great in bringing in different guest organizations such as Viacom CBS, NBC Universal, Disney, and a lot of the times the recruiters recruit us right on the spot as Pace students. There's also a lot of other clubs within marketing, finance, accounting, and if you don't see a business club you want to join, you can always create your own. So as we walk down the hallway, this is again our 4th floor. We have our great sign here deeming the Newman School of Business. And then we'll walk over here to our GPAC room, or our Global Portfolio Analysis Center. Definitely a mouthful there. So within this room, we have our relatively up-to-date stock ticker. We are even more relatively up-to-date than the one in Times Square because of our close proximity to Wall Street. We also have terminals in here, the ones with the colorful keyboards, if you can take a look. And in there, that means those terminals are equipped with Bloomberg technology. Bloomberg technology is the simulation of the buying, selling, and trading of stocks within the stock market. You can actually take an 8 to 10-hour course here at Newman School of Business and get certified within our Bloomberg technology, which looks great on your resume. So that is it for our Newman School of Business floor. I'm going to pass it over to our tour guide, Brooke, to talk about the science wing.
Hi everyone, my name is Brooke. I'm a rising senior here at Pace on the New York City campus. I'm a double major pursuing English and Communications with a minor in journalism. I am also part of a 5-year master's program in publishing, so I get to graduate with my master's in 5 years, which is saving me a year of time and money, always a good thing. I'm originally from Long Island, New York, but now live right here in the financial district, so I have a nice short commute to Pace. But you were just on the 4th floor viewing the Newman School of Business. Now we're gonna virtually walk down a flight of stairs, and here we are on the 3rd floor, and I'm going to take you through our science wing. So this is our Alfred Goldstein Laboratories. So we're gonna walk on into the science wing here and take a look. You'll notice the social distancing guidelines on the floor here, and that's all throughout our campus. So safety is of course our top priority. Something to note about our science wing is similar to the rest of our campus, it is newly renovated. So that includes 25 plus newly renovated bio and chem labs. We have brand new top-notch equipment in these labs too. We have a brand new 3D printer, which our science students are really excited about. We have all new equipment ready and available for you. So that includes your lab coats, your goggles, all that fun stuff. So something I like to note about our science department here at Pace is that no matter what major you are, you still get to take a science course at some point during your Pace path. So every major gets to experience the science department. So you'll be here again at some point during your Pace career. So that means you could take any science course anywhere from oceanography, like I just did, to biology, to physics, to forensic science, whatever it might be. A really popular science course we have here at Pace is the forensic science course. It's like a CSI investigative type of class, so you really get to interact and engage with the material in the course, and you kind of get to solve the problem like a CSI case would be. So that's a really popular one and something that you might consider taking as a Pace student. So let's continue walking along the way here. A lot of times science students ask me how traditional internships might look for them, if they look a little different, and kind of how an internship translates for a science student. And I say that it does in terms of research. So let's take a look over here. At Pace, science students have the opportunity to conduct research with our Pace faculty. If that research goes ahead and gets published and the student did a substantial amount of work on the research, their name could be produced on it as well. So you'll notice there are a variety of names here, and some include Pace University, some include PhD, and some don't. Some of these names are actually Pace students or former Pace students. So by the time you graduate, you could be on a published work of research, which is a great thing for your resume and is great experience in your field. So as we're going to walk along here, you'll notice that there's a lot of posters hanging on the wall, and that's all of our published research with our students' names on it. We'll take another pause here. You'll notice that there are a bunch of offices here as well. I like to say that the science wing is your one-stop shop as a science student. Professors are required to have office hours at Pace, and that of course includes your science professors. So whether that be in person or over Zoom, over email, professors build hours in their week to take time and meet with their students. So as a science student, you could go to your lab, you could go to your study space, and then you can come right to your professor's office if you'd like to schedule a meeting. So everything you need is right here. Now let's take a look at what a lab might look like. We can't go in because we're not properly dressed with our lab coats, but we can take a peek through the window. You can see right here, this is one of our newly renovated bio labs. We'll walk this way and take a look at another one. Here's another newly renovated bio lab. I got to see the 3D printer last semester when I gave a science tour, and let me tell you, it was so cool. I wish I could use it, and I wish I knew how to use it. It makes me want to take another science course. But we're gonna walk on out this way, and again, you'll just see some more research on the walls. You'll see some study spaces and professor offices. So that's a wrap for our science wing. Thanks so much for taking a look. I'm going to pass it off to the next tour guide, and that's David over at the cafeteria.
Hi everyone, it's nice to meet you all. My name is David. My pronouns are he, him, his. Currently, I am a rising sophomore in the Directing International Performance Ensemble program, and originally I'm from Long Island, New York. Today, I'm so excited to be showing you our main dining facility here on campus. Us PACE students like to call it the CAF. So inside, we have this really amazing, unique feature called the Rockbot. And the Rockbot allows students to play incredible music while they're listening to, while they're eating their food. And they can listen to whatever song of their choice. And it is a little bit louder. So right now I'm gonna do the stop outside and then I'll take you on a quick walkthrough of the space. But to get into the real meat and potatoes of it all, what you all came here for, the food. So all of our food is made to order, which means that you have chefs making the food right in front of you. You can customize it to your liking. And if you have any dietary restrictions or allergies, you can always speak to our cafeteria manager and they'd be happy to accommodate for you to make sure that you are having the healthiest, safest food options that you would prefer. And for some of our food options from front to back, first up, we have a burger station where you can customize your own hamburgers, cheeseburgers, and veggie burgers. There's another station where you can get chicken burgers and french fries right next to it, as well as freshly made sushi and poke bowls. Then we have a hot food buffet, which in the morning has waffles, pancakes, really incredible French toast. And then in the middle of the day, it's changed out to include sides like mashed potatoes, French fries, string beans. And then you can head across the cafeteria where there's a salad bar and get those greens in for your meal. And there's also a vegan station. And then heading further back, there is a salad station where you can customize your own salads with your own fixins and someone will prepare it for you. They'll toss the lettuce, put in everything that you want. And then a little further down, we also have places where you can customize your own pasta, pizza, and there's also a sandwich station, which is kind of like Subway. You get to choose what goes inside your sandwich. We also have prepackaged sushi, sandwiches, as well as grab-and-go snacks like chips and cookies, as well as a few different places where you can get like water and different kinds of sodas and drinks in the back. We also have a station where PACE students can actually vote on what the food is going to be. That's been my personal favorite station. I remember one week it was the potato station and it was the best week of my life. They served all kinds of mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, French fries, really incredible food. There was also a barbecue station at one point and an Indian food. So whatever PACE students choose, that is what the station will be for that week. Another feature of our PACE cafeteria that all of our PACE students love is our fully functioning Starbucks. And I say fully functioning because you can find all of the same menu items at this Starbucks as any other off-campus Starbucks. So all the same drinks, snacks, as well as New York City themed mugs, which is super cool. And I'm sure you're all wondering, how do I pay for all this delicious food? So in order to do that, you take out your PACE ID card and you hand it to the cashier and they swipe it and you're paying for the price of your food rather than the number of meals. Our meal plan is on a declining debit system, which I really love because for me personally, I'm a big snacker. I love the chips and cookies. So I'm relieved to know that I'm not going to lose a number of meal allotted for my system, and I'm just going to be paying for like the price of whatever I'm getting. We also have a feature of our PACE meal plan called Flex Dollars, which can be used at off-campus locations. Those include Rosella's, a pizza place, Chipotle, which is where most of my flex money went, even CVS. And you can use this at a bunch of other off-campus locations also. They'll say it like on the outside of the restaurant, and a lot of them, in fact, I have them down here. And your meal plan also works down at the Wall Mall, which Tori had pointed out earlier in this tour. We also have some incredible events that happen in the cafeteria. There's been a farmer's market, cooking classes. My personal favorite, though, has been midnight breakfast. This happens at the end of each semester. It's hosted by the RAs, and it's just a celebration of everything that happened. Everyone gathers, we all have pancakes and waffles at midnight, and they all taste so much better at that time. And there's like singing and dancing and karaoke. It's a really amazing time. But right now I'm gonna walk you through the space, and I'm gonna show you some of the social distancing guidelines that we have set in place for this next year. So you can follow me this way. So over here, we have our kitchen area, as well as the cash registers where you can check out. And this year we have a line just to make sure that no one is bumping into each other in the kitchen and making sure that we are all staying socially distant. And then if you would like to follow me this way, you can see we have some markings on the floor that direct students where to go, to direct traffic patterns. Oops, bumped into a wire. And then this way we have our lovely Starbucks that I was telling you all about before. some more line markings on the floor. So this was our cap space. I'm going to pass it on to my lovely friend Isabelle to tell you all about the library.
Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. My name's Isabelle. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a double major in the Dyson College of Arts and Sciences with film and economics and a minor in communication studies. And I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I'm currently right now in our Henry Birnbaum Library, which is 2 floors full of resources, knowledges, and everything that will get you successful for your academic career. If you come follow me in, I'll take you a little tour of our library. Right to our right is our circulation desk. These lovely people will get you connected to all the books that you might need. It includes our wonderful program that we call Connect NY. So in case PACE doesn't have a book that you might be interested in, it connects us to all the books in the New York Public Library system within the 5 boroughs. So if you need to get connected to a book that you might need, all you need to do is let the circulation desk know, and then you'll be able to pick up the book here, return it, and you'll get access to thousands of books without even leaving one PACE plaza. Behind me, there's usually our research desk, which has gone digitalized after everything going on in the world. They are there to help you, whether that be with a small research paper for your freshman class or for your senior capstone paper. They will help you get organized with resources for databases and outlines, as well as just have an extra eye to read over your research paper. This summer, I conducted research with the provost and economics department, and I did a quantitative analysis, and it was my first time ever conducting it myself. I was able to use the library as a digital resource, and they got me connected with different databases and organizational tools. I'm going to kind of slowly go up over here where I'll talk a little bit more about our student study spaces. So here within the library, our second floor is completely designated to the student study experience. We have on our first, as you enter in, it gets from more collaborative learning to more quiet. So our first area is what you might expect of any college campus, with the long tables and chairs within the bookshelves. That is my favorite place to study because I can hang out with friends and chat, but also get a ton of work done. We move into our collaborative learning room, which is where you can find our tech desk. Our tech desk works Monday through Friday at our average hours, and they will help you if you have laptop issues, or if you unfortunately forget your laptop in your residence hall, or if you are a commuter student and at home, they will get you connected with one for free. And that also includes calculators, which is very convenient. Our collaborative learning room, our tour guides, we like to call it the Panera without the bread, because it does resemble a cafe style with booths and tables and chairs. Unfortunately, no food has been served there, but it's a really great place to study with friends and get work done. We move in further. We hit our individual study area, which are individual cubicles. You can knock out any paper that you might need done. It also has fantastic views of the Brooklyn Bridge. But if you do need something total silence, we do have a silent study room in which you'll get shushed if you drop a pen. Also a great place to study for any midterms or finals. We do have 2 study spaces located here that are 24-hour spaces located near the library. Our first one is our lovely fishbowl, which is located adjacent to our library. That is 24-hour space. We call it the fishbowl because we like to joke and say that students look like fish in there, and if you knock on it, the windows, you'll disturb them. This is a great place if you want to grab some food from the cafeteria and get some work done. We also have a second study area, which is our Setter's Lounge, which is located to the right of the library. Again, another 24-hour study space. It's great for working in collaboration groups, much more of a relaxed environment, a lot more booths and high chairs. So that's really 2 great study options if you live in Maria's Tower and want to get some work done late in the evening, or if you have some time to spend here at PACE. Finally, I want to touch upon 2 spots that are very important to your academic career here at PACE. That is the Writing Center, which is located on the 2nd floor of this building. The Writing Center is here to help you with any resources that you might need when writing a small journal entry for your class, or again, your senior thesis paper. They'll get you organized and give you a second eye view on your writings, which is super helpful for whatever you might need. Our final location is our Learning Center, which is located on the 7th floor of 163 William Street. That is employed by student staff members, so meaning that upperclassmen students who have taken higher level or introductory level classes for a variety of subjects that include finance, economics, math, English. They will sit down and help you get everything that you might need, hold review sessions, and make sure that you are on the road for success. So that's just a little bit about our library here. I'm going to pass it on to tour guide Megan. She'll take you to our security and mural.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
I am originally from Casa Grande, Arizona, and I'm a rising sophomore this year studying business management with a minor in fashion marketing. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about security with you all. We do take security very important here at PACE, and I know parents love hearing about all of the safety measures that we have employed here on campus. So as you can see right behind me, this is one of our security desks. I'm just going to move along over here so you can hear me a little bit better. But we do operate with 24-hour security at PACE, including all of our PACE buildings and our residence halls. So we do not rely on the locked door system. There is definitely always a security guard behind it. So for all of our students, staff, and faculty coming into campus, everyone must scan in at a security desk with their IDs. And when doing so, security does check to make sure that the face does match the person walking into the building. No one is allowed on campus without an ID, and we are very strict with that policy just to protect the safety of our PACE community here. So we do allow guests on campus. They just must be checked in at the front security desk, and they will then be given a pass that they must keep on them at all times before leaving any of our PACE buildings. We are also in very close proximity, just a couple blocks away from One Police Plaza, which is the NYPD headquarters here in New York City. So not only is our PACE campus very safe and secure, but the financial district in itself is a very safe area to live. Lastly, I'd like to talk about our PACE Safe app that we have here. So you can download it on all Apple and Android devices. And this app features a lot of different safety features. I'm going to talk about a few of my favorites. One of those being the friend walk, which is where you can drop your location and your friends that you have connected on that app can watch you walk safely to your destination and make sure that you get there okay. You can also, if you're feeling unsafe or uncomfortable anywhere within our 5-block radius, which is PACE's campus area, you can drop your location and connect with the security guard, and they can come and escort you back to your residence hall or back to any PACE buildings. We do also have, I do like to mention with that, I've never had to use it personally, nor have any of my friends, but it's just really nice knowing that that safety feature is there for you, just to make you feel a little bit safer here on campus. Lastly, with the pandemic happening, we have updated our app to feature some COVID safety features on it. So now, before entering any of our PACE buildings, including our residence halls, all staff, students, and faculty must fill out a COVID questionnaire. It is only 4 questions, but it does ask you if you've had any COVID-related symptoms and questions like that. And then based on your answers, it will permit you onto campus. So when you do scan in your ID, you'll also have to show security that QR code, letting them know that it's safe for you to be on campus. So that is there just to protect the health and well-being of our PACE community. So that's my spiel on security here at PACE, but now I'm actually going to show you an awesome PACE mural that we have here. You can see Maria's Tower down there. As we're walking along, you'll see tons of different NYC landmarks and really fun locations that you definitely will have to go and check out sometime if you haven't been already. But I am going to stop right down here. This is Radio City Music Hall, and I always like to mention this one because this is an option for PACE graduation. We also hold graduation at Lincoln Center as well as Madison Square Garden. So I know come 2023 for myself when I graduate, I'm very excited to get to walk across the stage in a very iconic and famous building. So that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my good friend Mitchell, who's going to talk about our Newman lobby.
Hi everyone, my name is tour guide Mitch. I'm a rising sophomore in the BA acting program, and I am currently in our Lubin Lounge. This is yet another one of the new student spaces made to hang out with your friends, do some studying, eat some food. It is directly below our grand staircase that we have right here, right in the middle of One PACE Plaza. You'll see the Lubin School of Business sign right in front of the seats. Directly behind me, you're going to find our Lubin Active Learning Classroom, which is full of all the technology that you're going to be needing, including 2 giant monitors and another large stock ticker. I'm now going to take you around to the other direction of this building. We're going out the 2 main doors. This is going to take us to our courtyard, where a bunch of events are held throughout the year. Some of my favorites include free or discounted food carts. We also had a moon bounce come in during weeks of welcome, which I thought was so fun. And then this is also just a great place to eat lunch with your friends, hang out, and enjoy the beautiful city that is right behind you. All right, so that's it for our courtyard. I'm gonna pass it off to my good friend Doug, who's in the Schimmel Center.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Schimmel Center Theater here on Pace's campus. This is our 650-seat auditorium, which houses 4 of our main stage productions in the Pace School of Performing Arts every year. A fall and spring dance concert and a musical and a play that switch from fall to spring year to year. Now the Schimmel entity does their own curated offering of shows in this space every year, from concert bands and orchestras to comedians and singers and even movie screenings. I was lucky my freshman year to see a movie screening of Little Shop of Horrors, and the director, Frank Oz, came out on stage after the screening for a talkback, and that was pretty cool. Some other cool things that happen in this space are that inside the Actors Studio, a great TV show used to be filmed exclusively on the Schimmel Theater stage. Guests like Tina Fey, Al Pacino, and the cast of How I Met Your Mother have been on that stage, and that's a really great perk of being a Pace University student. Now the show films all around Manhattan, uptown, downtown, midtown, all over the place. But since our initial connection with the Schimmel Theater, Pace students often get free or discounted tickets to see tapings of Inside the Actors Studio all the time. Now back to Pace's relationship with the Schimmel Theater. The Pace Board, one of our great student organizations on campus, holds a number of events inside of the Schimmel Theater every year, right there on that stage, including Amateur Night, Think America's Got Talent, Pace Edition, where you could sing, dance, or do a comedy routine and compete for cash prizes and even compete in front of celebrity judges. And we also have Pace Idol, where one of our tour guides actually won the whole competition this year. Super cool plug for the Pace University Welcome Center. And finally, the Schimmel Theater is a union house, which means that all actors and technicians who work in this space abide by union rules, and the student actors and technicians get really great professional early exposure to being a part of the industry. From all the great people who have been on this stage, all the way from me, your tour guide Doug, whose pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm studying directing, that's all I've got. I'm now gonna pass it on to Brooke to tell you about 41 Park Row.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's me, Brooke, again. I'm going to introduce you to 41 Park Row. So just to give you some frame of reference, you were just in One Pace Plaza for the entire tour, but now we walked outside, walked across the street over to 41 Park Row. So this is probably your second most important Pace building. I say that because it's head to toe Pace. So every single floor in this building is Pace related. This is a very important building for Pace students, and I guarantee you'll be here many times throughout your Pace career. And just like the rest of the different venues that you saw in One Pace Plaza, this building is also newly renovated. So right now, we're inside our brand new art gallery. So let's take a look around. This art gallery is student run and operated. They try to do different themes every once in a while. The most recent theme before we left for the semester was sustainability. So it was really interesting to see how our art students match that theme. As you can see, we have some beautiful windows over here, so pedestrians can actually take a look at the art being produced in the art gallery, which is really great exposure for our students. Now we're going to go back and head into 41 Park Row. So we're going to exit out here. And now we're going to pass through our security here.
Hi, we're tour guides.
You let us in.
Oh.
Thank you. As you can see, we have social distancing guidelines on the floor here too. Now we're going to come over here and I'm going to introduce you to an inside scoop. One of the best places to study on campus is a lounge down here. We're standing at the balcony right now overlooking it. This is a really great lounge to study in. It's super cozy. It has a fun little piano, so it's a great spot to meet up with friends, to grab lunch, to have a break in between classes. It's a hot spot. The tour guides absolutely love studying here, so definitely look out for it when you come onto campus next fall. We have other lounges that are brand new and newly renovated in this building as well. One of my favorites is on the 8th floor, which is home to SEDACA. That stands for Student Development and Campus Activities. SEDACA oversees all of your clubs and organizations on campus. So everything from Greek life to the school newspaper, to the LGBTQIA+ Center, to leadership societies and more. They oversee all of it. I got to work with SEDACA last year when I served as the treasurer on the executive board for the Pace Press, our school newspaper. And through my meetings with SEDACA and through my partnership with them, my team and I on the Pace Press applied for conference funding from Pace University. So I'll explain what that means. As a team, we got invited to the National Journalism Collegiate Conference in California the past 2 Februaries, and we were completely funded for those trips by Pace University. So this past February, before COVID really started bubbling up, we got to go to San Francisco, and the February before, we got to go to San Diego, and we presented our journalism and our newspaper to the conference with other college students from around the world. Pace paid for everything. They paid for our airfare, our hotel, our conference registration fees, and they reimbursed me for all my meals and Ubers. It was a really great experience, and it's something I continue to touch on and talk about in my later interviews for jobs and internships. So that was a really phenomenal experience. What else is in this building? Another really important department is on the 16th floor, and that is home to career services. So career services is, we always tell our students, first place you should go when you become a freshman at Pace. They will hold resume workshops, they will hold cover letter workshops, they will hold one-on-one counseling to help you develop your interview skills, to help you really make sure your resume is crisp and ready to send out. We have an online portal called Handshake where you can find exclusive access to those jobs and internships that are the best fit for you and that are in your field. So definitely make sure to check them out. They're on the 16th floor. Last but not least, in this building on the 2nd floor, we have our Dyson College of Arts and Sciences advisors. So if you are in the Dyson College of Arts and Sciences, anything from me, an English and Communications major, to a biology major, to a performing arts major, and anything that falls under that college, your advisors are right here in this building. So they will hold meetings for you, they will hold one-on-one counseling appointments for you, whether that be virtual or in person, they are here for you, and I have had a great experience working with that department. So that about wraps it up for 41 Park Row. I am going to pass it off to the next tour guide, which is Alex, and she will tell you more about Maria's Tower.
Hey everyone, so I'm going to tell you about one of our all freshman residence halls, Maria's Tower. There's some wonderful photos behind me, so definitely check that out as I'm speaking about it. Maria's Tower, like I said, is an all freshman residence hall. It's actually located right above One Pace Plaza, so that means that it is in the same building that most of your academic classes will be. So that is awesome in those cold New York winter months when it's snowy, rainy, or just super chilly outside. You probably won't even have to leave the building to go to class, which is awesome. Maria's Tower is all doubles, so you will have one other roommate, and all of the rooms are the same size. Maria's Tower is a more traditional college-style residence hall, so there are communal bathrooms. Depending on the male to female ratio of each floor, there's typically 2 female bathrooms and 2 male bathrooms on each floor, and then some floors also have gender-neutral bathrooms that are available for you to use. Because it is more communal style, there are 2 lounges on each floor as well. So there is a social lounge with a TV where you can hang out, chat with your friends. My freshman year, we like to do karaoke in there, which was super fun. And then there's also a quiet study lounge. So that is completely silent for you to go in, study for your finals, write a paper, whatever you need to do. There's also an extra study space and a kitchenette on every other floor of Maria's Tower. You also have access to all of the amenities in the One Pace Plaza building. So that would be the fitness center, the cafeteria, and the library. And there's also laundry located on the 17th floor of Maria's Tower for you to use. So now I'm going to let you hear from David about our other all freshman residence hall, 182 Broadway.
Hi again, everyone. It's David. Right now, I'm going to be telling you about 182 Broadway. It is the furthest point on our campus, located about 5 blocks from our main campus building. It's the place that I called home my freshman year, and I miss it so. But it never took me more than like 5 to 7 minutes to walk to my classes because it is in such a close proximity to the Pace building. We also have Fulton Station located right across the street from 182 Broadway, and it has multiple subway lines. It's one of the largest stations in Lower Manhattan. So you can take that to get up to the theater district and catch a Broadway show, or even go out to Brooklyn and go explore. So anywhere you need to go, those subway lines can connect you there, and then all you'd have to do is walk right back across the street to get home. Inside the building itself, it's comprised of 50% triples, 25% doubles, and 25% quads. In terms of the furniture in the room, it comes stocked with a mattress, bed frame, desk, chair, mini fridge, microwave. as well as your own private bathroom, which gives it that apartment suite style feel. You can also personalize and decorate it yourself, and it's just an added space of privacy for you and your roommates to access. Because you will be living with likely more than one person, the rooms are proportional to the amount of people living in them, so they actually get bigger depending on how many people living in them, with the quads being the biggest, then triples, then doubles. In terms of amenities in the building, they are all located on the 4th floor, which makes the floors feel more apartment suite style. So you would just have to head down to floor 4 to access these things that I'm going to tell you about. So they include a study lounge that's always silent, and you can print your stuff there even. There's also a mail room as well as a screening room. My friend actually did a screening of Mamma Mia there his freshman year, which was super fun. And then right down the hallway, there is a huge lounge with a TV and a foosball table. And I really love going down there and hanging out with my friends my freshman year. And there's also this huge kitchen down there, so you can make your own food if you want. And then right down the hallway, there's also a gym as well as a laundry room. You don't need to bring your own coins for the laundry because it is included in your housing tuition, so save those pennies. And that's true for all 4 of our residence halls on our PACE campus. And then in terms of the My Housing agreement, that is the process for finding a roommate. So upon putting your housing deposit down, you will get a survey, and you just have to fill it out based on your living preferences, like what time you like to go to bed, if you get up early or later, if you're cleaner or messier, and that will pair you with someone with 80% or more of the same answers as you. So you'll definitely be matched with someone who is compatible living-wise. For me personally, I sort of got the best of both worlds. I lived in a triple, and one of my roommates was random from the My Housing survey, and then another one I connected with in the Pace University Facebook group. So we just had to put each other's names down in the portal, and we were matched up with each other in the same building, same room, and we also made a new friend, which was super fun and super amazing. We also have RAs on each floor of all of our buildings. So the RAs are there just to maintain order on all the floors and just make sure that everyone is doing well. They'll have monthly check-in sessions with us where they'll check in on us socially and academically. And they're kind of like older siblings when we first come to campus. So it's really nice having that source of guidance and advice from an older person. So that's about it for 182 Broadway, our My Housing and RAs. Right now, I'm going to pass it on to my incredible friend Courtney to show you her room in 33 Beekman.
Come on in, everyone. Don't be shy. First of all, happy summer visit day. Let's take a deep breath. And I do consider myself very energetic and friendly, so it looks like I made a bunch of new friends. I am tour guide Courtney. If you couldn't tell, here I am. I am currently a sophomore here on the Pace NYC campus, earning my BA in economics with the economics department of Dyson College, and hopefully trying to pursue a minor in entrepreneurship within the Newman School of Business. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm originally from Freehold, New Jersey, which is the hometown of Bruce Springsteen and tour guide Courtney. And I put that in there because I myself consider myself an icon and will be famous sometime soon. So, disclosure. I'm here today in the lovely financial district, New York City. Here we are, where Pace NYC calls its campus its home, in 33 Beekman, the tallest residence hall in the world and predominantly upperclassmen, not just to show you my amazing interior design skills and my iconic Pace University themed bed, which is very renowned here on campus. I mean, come on, look at those yellow pillows. But to share with you all how similar 33 Beekman is to all the other residence halls here on Pace's campus. So I'm gonna flip my camera a bit. I almost showed you all the view. I'm not gonna show you it yet. I'm gonna hide it from you because it's the best, save the best for last. But anyway, everything you see that is brown is furniture. I know you all know it's furniture, but that is included within the room when you live here on campus. And it's amazing that Pace gives you the furniture. I know, very Pace. Yes, we love it. Because you don't wanna be lugging like a huge desk or wardrobe with you all the way to NYC. It's just crazy. Pace accommodates for their students. We also have the lovely addition of the micro fridge. And 33 Beekman is apartment style, just like 182 Broadway, and was a huge inspiration towards why I chose to live in 33 Beekman, because I love the apartment style feel. So this is where my bathroom is. And when you live on Pace's campus, you are guaranteed a beautiful view of the financial district neighborhood. Okay, brace yourselves. I was hiding this from you all, but here we are. Come on, people. What? Look at this. That's what Pace Plaza. That's the main building, and those are the two bridges. I mean, I feel like I'm on $1 Million Listing, New York City from Bravo. It's crazy. And this is where the main tour is happening right now. So those are where all my friends are. But anyway, I can talk about myself forever and this beautiful room and how much I love Pace NYC and 33 Beekman and, you know, all the residence halls here. But I'm gonna send you off to tour guide Doug, one of my best friends, with one of my favorite spots in One Piece Plaza, the fitness center. So go get him, Doug. I love you all. Enjoy your day.
Hey everyone, it's Tour Guide Doug again, and I am here in our newly renovated fitness center. Check it out. So we've got our fully functioning basketball court where you can play some intramural sports like basketball, volleyball, and even badminton, all available for our students here. Now, if you'll follow me, Isabelle, I'll show you a closer look at our cardio room here in the fitness center. So right here, we've got our cardio room with a number of machines and yoga balls, everything under the sun, all available for our student use. If you're living in Maria's Tower, this is the gym that you will use and you will have available to you all the time. Now, let's keep going. As we head to the weight room, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the fitness center and what this room offers. Now, not only is this space used for intramural sports and stuff of that sort, but also career services hosts a career and internship fair in this space every year, and sometimes we even have concerts. This entire room is transformed into an amazing concert venue, and last year, Megan Thee Stallion and Carly Rae Jepsen came in here and did a kick-butt concert that really rocked Pace University. All right, now we're heading to the weight room, which is just across the way, and we'll get a closer look at that as we run. So, woo, here we go. Get a little workout in. Woo! Weight room, we're almost there. Aha! Here we are, the weight room, once again, brand new, renovated, gorgeous facilities, all available for our students' use to pump that iron and get ready for a brand new year. Well, folks, that's all I've got in the fitness center. I'm gonna pass it up to my friend Tori to wrap up the tour.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're so glad to have you here virtually with us on campus today. Thank you so much for hopping in. If you have any questions about the tour, drop them in the chat. Us tour guides will be around answering questions along with our professional staff. But with that being said, thank you for following us along today. We are so excited to meet you. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. And now I am going to pass it over to Morgan Tees for the student panel.
All right. Thank you so much to Kim and her whole team at the Welcome Center. The tour guides, as you can see, are enthusiastic. They're high achieving, full of energy. They gave you a great look at what our campus looks like. Now I'm very excited. We're going to have some current students. I'm going to host a little bit of a panel with them and ask them their questions, some questions about PACE. And they're going to tell you what their experience has been so far. So you'll get to see what PACE looks like. Now you get to hear what it's like to be a PACE student. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to have each of them come on screen, tell you a little bit about themselves, share what their major is, tell you when their anticipated graduation year is, and then also tell you why they chose to come to PACE. So the first of our great student panelists I'm going to have come on screen is Cyrielle.
Hi, my name is Cyrielle. I'm a rising senior with a psych major and a double minor in women, gender studies, and sociology and anthropology. Bit of a mouthful. I chose PACE because one, New York City, of course, and two, I went to a really small high school, so I wanted kind of a small field to continue on, and PACE is just the right size of students to professors ratio, and so it's nice to be in an environment where I can have a lot of one-on-one time with my professor, but still be in a really big city.
Great, thanks so much, Cyrielle. Next up, I'm going to have Vicente introduce himself to all of you.
Hey everyone, my name is Vicente Gomez. I'm a rising senior here at Pace University. I'm studying computer science with a minor in cybersecurity and criminal justice. I chose Pace because it actually kind of runs in the family. My mom graduated from Pace, class of 1990. And when I first toured Pace, it felt right at home. My main priority when looking for a university back in my freshman year was to find a place that I would love to spend time in as much as I love spending time at home. And that place was Pace University for me.
Nice, thank you so much. Next up, I'm going to have Sahar tell you a little bit about herself.
Hi, my name is Sahar. I'm a health science major at Pace. I'm on the generalist track. So I initially chose Pace because I was really attracted to small class sizes because I think having that one-on-one time with your professors is really important. And of course, the location and financial district, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So Being a health science major, the wide variety of courses for the generalist track was also really attractive to me. And I've got to learn about healthcare administration and healthcare ethics, which is just exactly the track I want to go on. So, yeah.
Nice. Thanks so much, Sahar. And then next up, I'm going to have Nicolette tell us a little about her, why she chose PACE and everything else about her.
Hey, my name is Nicolette. So currently I graduated my undergrad in 3 years. And so now I focused into the master's program. I'm a 5-year master's student in elementary ed and special ed. I'm currently a co-teacher at a school for children with social emotional disabilities. And I'm from Toms River, New Jersey, and I chose PACE because it had this very attractive 5-year program. And I love the city, and I've always wanted to be a teacher here, so go PACE.
Thanks, Nicolette. And then finally, I'm going to have Leah come on and tell you a little bit about herself too.
Hi everyone, my name is Leah Gaffney and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm originally from New Britain, Connecticut, and I'm majoring in advertising and integrated marketing communications with a minor in arts and entertainment management. I chose PACE really because of all the unique career opportunities we have here, including just being in New York City and having access to so many great internship opportunities. The Honors College has been great for me, and all of the academic organizations we have on campus.
All right, thanks so much, Leah. So those are going to be all of our panelists. The next question I'm also going to ask to all of them, and it's just going to be the transition from high school to college. It's a big move. You're going from living at home to, in some cases, living away from home. New way of learning. So I'd love to hear from all of our panelists about what the biggest challenges are that they first experienced when they started at PACE, and then what were some things that helped them to get through those. What were some things that PACE does that help them overcome those challenges? And we'll go reverse order, so we'll start with Leah for this one.
So when I came to PACE, I had a lot of trouble just finding the right people and really putting myself out there. So one thing that helped me a lot was attending the campus activities fair, where I just got to see all the different organizations I can be a part of. And after going there, I just attended a bunch of different club meetings, and I really decided who I vibed with and who I wanted to surround myself with. So that really helped, just putting myself out there.
Nice. Thanks so much, Leah. Nicolette, what were some challenges you experienced, and what were some things that helped with those?
I think for me, I'm a first generation student, so the transition is kind of hard. I thought, and I was really worried because I didn't know what I was going to come into, and I just found so many opportunities. I felt like there was so many to pick from, and like they really came to me. And I think I really found my way, and I found my support system, and I think I had a really great transition into college, and I think PACE really helped me with that, and I definitely love where I am now.
Sahar, tell us about what that transition was like for you and what helped you at PACE with it.
So I'm originally from Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's a very small town, so moving here was definitely challenging. But it was a big period of self-growth for me because I think PACE really helped put me at ease with everything because everybody is so warm and welcoming, and we have so many resources on campus. The counseling center has helped me a lot with my whole transition freshman year, and attending the activity fairs as well. Yeah, I think that really helped me get a sense of where I belong here. So yeah, that's all been great.
Great. Yeah, shout out to the activity fairs, all of the other week of welcome activities that are about to start in the next few weeks for all of our incoming class of fall 2020. Vicente, tell us about your transition to PACE and what were some things that helped you with going through that?
Yeah, so for me, time management was really big for me because when I was in high school, I always had this cushion of all of my teachers. I would get to see them every day. They would always remind me of the stuff that I had to have hand in at a certain time. But when you get into college, most likely you're not seeing these professors every day. You're seeing them every other day or twice a week. So I had to be on top of all the work for each one of my classes that I was taking. And that also connects to my social life as well. I needed I was having trouble keeping a balance between staying on top of my schoolwork, but also wanting to be socially active and make new friends. So the things that helped me out was definitely the tutoring center and making a schedule to go there and get help with the classes that I was struggling in. And in these classes, when I would go to them more often, I would make friends and definitely would make study groups, and we would all pass together.
Yeah, definitely. Again, shout out to the tutoring center. They're on both campuses. They're great. It's very like student focused, run by students. Highly recommend it. And then Cyrielle, tell us about what that transition was like for you, and what were some things that helped you with when you were first starting at Pace?
I think similar to what Leah said, I was like scared about like making friends and like meeting a lot of new people all at once. And so Pace has the Weeks of Welcome, which are like a bunch of activities that are hosted during September, and it's coming up soon, which I'm really excited about, where I was able to go to a bunch of these activities, like meet people and like go to the campus activities fair and figure out what clubs I wanted to go into, and to kind of just have a chance to meet people on like a neutral ground where everyone was kind of trying to make friends. And so that really helped that transition.
Great, thank you. So the next question requires a little bit of context. At Pace, we have something that's called the Pace Path. So the Pace Path is a customized plan that every student puts together when they first start at Pace. We talk about it having 3 pillars. That is academics, internships, and then support and mentorship. So you're not putting this plan all together by yourself. 4-year plans, a lot to put together. So you have support from a staff member, a faculty member, and from a current student to put this together. So it's nice because on there, you'll basically put everything that you're wanting to do during your time at Pace. Any internships, clubs, organizations you want to join, certain classes, and it's a nice kind of roadmap to refer back to over your time at Pace to make sure you're on the track that you had initially set out for yourself. Obviously, 4 years is a long time, so sometimes you're going to stick to that plan the whole 4 years. Sometimes it's going to change drastically. But it's nice to just have something, it's reassuring to have something you can refer back to and be, know that you're achieving the things that you wanted to achieve. So I'm going to have each of our panelists just kind of go through their Pace path and just kind of explain to us how it's been, if it's changed, if it's stayed the same, and what have been some things that have been great about it. So for this one, we're going to start with Vicente to tell us a little bit about his Pace path.
Yeah, so my Pace path has relatively stayed the same since I was a freshman. I knew I always wanted to do computer science and specialize in cybersecurity, but within that cybersecurity path, I took some criminal justice courses and I fell in love with it. I took an intro to criminal justice class, and my professor was an actual prosecutor for 40 plus years before she became a professor, and she shared a lot of her experiences with me and the rest of the class, and that just made me fall in love with criminal justice, and that led me to taking out a second minor in it. But other than that, I've always been on my Pace path, and it's really helped me working with another student that's a higher level than me that has been through what I was going through at the time, and also working with my advisor so I could set up what classes I was taking 3 semesters in advance. So it really helped out.
Nice, great. So next, I'd love to hear from Leah about what your Pace path has been like so far.
Hi, yeah, so for me, my Pace path changed quite a bit in terms of when I was graduating. This past year was my first year at Pace as a freshman, and I entered in as a freshman, but with the help of the Honors College, I managed to transfer over 50 credits from high school just from dual enrollment programs and my AP classes, and so now I went from a freshman to a second semester sophomore in the span of 1 semester. But besides that, my Pace path really hasn't changed much in terms of what I want to do after Pace. I've always been very interested in doing marketing within the entertainment industry, so that's remained relatively stable.
Nice, great. Definitely for all of those AP, IB, dual enrollment credits, we accept all of those, so definitely reach out if you have more questions about those. Next, Cyrielle, tell us a little bit about your Pace path.
My Pace path has like stayed the same, mostly with like psychology, but my minors have changed a lot. So it's nice that there's so many classes as options, and so it's like even the classes that I took for like my other minors counted for my new ones. And so in that sense, I've had the freedom of being able to like change a course and not feel like worried about my graduation date, because of the fact that we had the Pace path and it was like lined up for my 4 years, so I never had to worry about it. So that was always really nice. And like with the help of like all my advisors, I've always been able to like keep track of all my courses and make sure that I'm always like on course to graduate in 4 years.
Great, yeah. And I think that's it's like a stress or a weight off to know like, all right, this is the date that have been set. These are all the steps to get there. If I follow these steps, I'm going to graduate on that time. So it's definitely nice and reassuring in that way. Nicolette, want to tell us about your PACE path?
I am the cheerleader for the PACE path. I love it because I am a really organized person. I love a good plan, and I wanted to get a job at the end, and I did, and I wanted to graduate early, and I did, and I'm also a peer leader, so I help students make their PACE path. So I think it's really important for me, and my plan really stayed really consistent, and I did everything that I felt like I really wanted to do. So it was really helpful to, you know your end goal, but you don't know your action steps. And so it's a lot easier to build the small steps to where you want to get to.
Great. And then Sahar, tell us about your PACE path.
So I've always been a person who's struggled a little bit with organization and time management. So coming into PACE path was one of my absolute favorite things that I've been able to do because it really helped me prioritize and just see the bigger picture of where I want to be by the time I graduate. For me, it's relatively stayed the same, but now I'm working towards getting a minor in professional sales and management. And I think the PACE path has just really helped me organize all of my coursework and make sure I graduate on time. So yeah, it's definitely been a favorite of mine.
Great, glad to hear it. So we're very lucky on our panel to have a couple of students who are members of our Honors College. So the Forzheimer's Honors College is on both campuses. You don't have to apply specifically to it. There's not an extra application or anything like that. You're automatically considered for it when you apply to PACE. So I'm going to have some of our panelists just kind of explain what the Honors College is, what their experiences has been like in the Honors College, and I'd love to start with Nicolette.
So for me, the Honors College is my favorite thing about PACE. For me, it's like, it really is a true community. We have our own advisors, we have our own lounge, we really are a tight-knit group, and I feel like, you can go in there and you can talk to your advisor, not just about your academic problems, but your social problems and whatever else that you need to talk about with someone. It's a really great community. And it's kind of like my family away from my own family. And that's why I love it so much.
Great. And Cyrielle, do you want to tell us about your experience in the Honors College?
Sure. I'm also a student assistant for the Honors College, so I've gotten to work with a lot of the staff and help plan like events and work with other students as well, which has been like a really good part of my like PACE journey in general. My favorite parts about honors are just like Nicolette was saying, the advisors, being able to like have someone who knows your schedule back and forth, who knows your PACE path very well. So if you ever want to make a change, you can always make an appointment and make that change. And there's also a mentoring program. So every freshman coming in gets an older honors mentor within their major who can help them with like the right classes to take, their favorite professors that they should take, also just give them advice about PACE in general. So it's also like a really nice advantage.
Nice. And would you say, I have a follow-up question for you. Would you say that it's been a lot more work during your time at PACE to be part of the Honors College?
No, it hasn't. Like, we like to say, especially our director, Jacqueline Cole, like to say it's not more work, but it's different work. So the honors courses that are needed to graduate with honors are just formed in a way that you're put to think differently, or to classes are structured differently. So one of the well-known classes, instead of like just studying history, a lot of the students are like given a role in history. And so things like the Civil War, the Revolutionary War end up differently. People really have to dig deep into it. So a lot of the classes are formed around professors who want people to really think critically and not just go through the steps.
Great. Thank you so much. So then we also have, Nicolette has been, as she has mentioned, is doing a combined degree program at PACE. So for anyone who's unaware with these types of programs, combined degrees or accelerated degrees are where you can get your undergraduate degree and your postgraduate degree, so a master's, in less time than you normally would. So in Nicolette's case specifically, it's tailored more to education, but could you tell us a little bit about what the experience of doing a combined degree has been like?
Sure, yeah. So right now I'm in the master's portion of it. I think it's a really great way to save time. It's a really great way to save money. You knock off a whole year. In my case, I knocked off 2. But I think it's a really great way to, so I started in elementary ed, and then you can go into either literacy or special ed, depending on what you want to specialize in. And the work turns more into, you take night classes, so you can have a job during the day, which is, I work as a teacher during the day at a school. And it's a really great way to put all the things that you learn into practice, while also supplementing it with more courses. And I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway is you can save money, you can save time, and you're, in some cases able to start a job while you're doing the last year of it, which is really great. So we've heard a lot about academics and learning while you're at PACE, but the other side of it is also that you're going to be living on campus in some cases, spending a lot of time on campus in all cases. So getting involved on campus is a big part of the college experience at PACE as well. So for the next couple questions, they're going to be focused on different clubs, organizations, different ways that students have been involved. So first, let's start with Leah. So Leah, you're on the executive board, or what's sometimes known as like the E-board of the American Marketing Association. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience has been like?
Yeah. So this past semester, I was elected the Chief of Records, which in other words is just a secretary. And my job throughout the summer has been to create meeting agendas, format email campaigns, and just kind of plan for what we're going to do this next semester. And we've been meeting every other week all summer, so it's been a lot, but we have some really great activities coming up. And one thing that we've been planning out a lot is the AMA 2021 Collegiate Conference, which will be held in New Orleans, Louisiana. I went this past year, and it was just such an amazing experience. I got to compete in 3 different competitions, the Perfect Pitch competition, the chapter exhibit, and the Marketplace Business Simulation. And my favorite part of the whole experience was really just getting to network with so many people throughout the country from all different AMA chapters. And we also got to meet with industry professionals and go through a resume workshop as well. So I highly recommend, if you'd like to join the organization, you can reach out to me with any questions. And yeah.
Great, thank you so much. And for Sahar, so you are a health science major, but I've heard that you're planning on becoming a member of the Lubin School of Business Marketing and Sales team. So how did you discover that team? What do you kind of see? Why do you want to be part of that team as a health science major? Oh, I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
Like I said, I'm working towards a minor in professional sales and management. So my overall goal is to be on the business side of the medical field. And that's why I chose the generalist track. But I first heard of the Lubin marketing and sales team from one of my professors. She actually recommended that I join just so I could explore my interests a little bit more in the marketing world. And yeah, so I reached out to the head of the team, and they said they would take me on. So I'm really excited for that. And essentially I'm not sure how it'll work now with COVID, but in the past they go to different competitions and you're able to be in a setting that kind of mimics like a real marketing situation and making sales. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vicente, you are the secretary of the App Development Club. So what type of work do you do in that role and in that club? How did you get that position?
Yeah, I'm the secretary of that. I'm secretary of the App Development Club. I'm also the student assistant at Seidenberg. So if any of you guys are interested in computer science and you guys call the Seidenberg School, I'll probably be the one to pick up. But while I was working one day, one of my friends, his name was Austin, he was the president at the time, he just approached me. He told me about the club, and I wanted to get involved outside the classroom and take what I was learning inside the classroom and apply it to something as cool as app development. So some things that we do, especially now these days with a lot of privacy concerns with apps like TikTok and Facebook and things like that. We talk about different trends in throughout app development, specifically TikTok, which is one of the big things, especially this year. But also, everybody has ideas that we feel that could be cool apps. So one of the things that we do is we learn how to translate these ideas that we have in our head and put it on to an app, whether it be an Apple app or an Android app. There's things like UX design, which is the actual experience that a person is experiencing while on the app, and we go through all of it, and it's really fun. And we also lost a few of our e-board members, so if any of you guys are going to be coming to PACE, we're recruiting right now, so hopefully to see you guys there as well.
Vicente using his time wisely. And then Cyrielle, you are the founding treasurer of Active Minds. So could you tell us a little bit about Active Minds, what they do on campus, and then what was the experience like of founding a club at PACE?
Yeah, so Active Minds is a national organization that has chapters in different universities around the country. And so it's really just a group about mental health awareness and self-care around college campuses, because it is a really stressful time of your life. And so it's just a way of kind of making sure that everyone is taking care of themselves. And the club, especially at PACE, is all about kind of new other forms of self-care. So the club hosts a lot of like paint and sip nights, and like to do a lot of de-stressing events. We had a bubble wrap popping event once, which is just like us getting a bunch of bubble wrap and everyone's like popping it to get the stress out, which is really fun. And I started working on the club with the other e-board my freshman year, and the club started my sophomore year. So it was a really nice experience of like really planning out events and working with a budget that the school provides for all clubs, and kind of really getting to work behind the scenes of all the events that I loved going to my freshman year. So it was a really great leadership opportunity as well, because it was beyond schoolwork. It was something kind of like real life. I kind of like work with problems and situations, and I had a great team as well. Like I loved being on executive board, so I highly recommend it for anyone going into college. It's a lot of fun.
Cool, great, thank you so much. And then I did see a question come up in the chat at some point about Greek life. So we do have Greek life on both of our campuses. And so I know Leah takes part in Greek life. So could you tell us a little bit about what that experience has been like for you?
Definitely. So I'm a part of Kappa Delta sorority, which is one of our 3 sororities here on campus. And I went through the recruitment process this past semester, and it was just a really great experience. I was extremely nervous at first, but I ended up making so many amazing friends just in a short week of time. And even though we're not all in the same sorority, we all still talk and we're all very close. And being in Kappa Delta this past semester has been a really great experience. And it's really about finding your girl club. And we've done a lot of events about women empowerment and a lot of sorority retreats with each other, which has been great. And one of the things I loved best about it during this pandemic was they offered us some virtual volunteering opportunities to partake in, which philanthropy is very important to Kappa Delta sorority and all of our sororities here on campus. So it was really great to see how we can still stay involved and help the community even from home.
Great, thank you so much. So now at this point, we are actually going to have a special guest joining us. We've had a lot of requests in the chat from musical theater majors. So we're actually going to have one of our tour guides, Chris, join us. Chris, are you there? There you are. So Chris is going to answer a couple questions just specifically about musical theater before we move on. So first, Chris, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. So when you're going to be graduating from PACE, and why you chose PACE, and what your PACE path has been like so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hi everyone. My name is Chris Arredondo. I'm a rising sophomore in the musical theater program at PACE. So I will be graduating in 2023. Why I chose PACE was definitely for the caliber and reputation and opportunities that PACE Performing Arts provides all of their students. I have gotten to do things within my major and opportunities in New York City as a working professional that I would never have dreamed of being able to do before coming to PACE. And for example, a little bit about my PACE path. Last year, my freshman year, I was able to be a part of New York City Center's pre-production casts of Evita, and also their production of Love Life. And I also was able to workshop on a musical directed by Tony Award winner Victoria Clark called Newton's Cradle. So there's so many different opportunities to, here at PACE that PACE provides, and it's a great time.
All in your first year. High achieving already. Great. So I think the first question I'd love to ask, a lot of the students that are in the chat, they're prospective students going to be applying soon. What kind of advice do you have for them when it comes to like the pre-screen process and the auditions?
Yeah, I think that being organized is definitely key. I personally didn't use a coach or anything like that. I know that a lot of my friends used coaches to help them organize all their audition dates and find all their materials. I am here to tell you that it is possible without a coach or anyone sort of holding your hand through it all. I'm living proof. But I think definitely staying on top of all deadlines, maybe create a spreadsheet of what materials you need for what schools. I know that a lot of schools are on a common pre-screen now, which is amazing. That wasn't the case when I was applying, but I'm glad that it's there for y'all now. And when it comes to PACE specifically, just be yourself. Honestly, it's so cliche. You hear it all the time, but I think PACE musical theater is so focused on individuality and honing in on a person's skills that they already have as a performer. So don't try to be anything that you're not. Show them you in the room, and they'll do that. It'll be awesome.
Great. And then just to give them a little bit of idea of what classes are like, what that experience is like what could you describe like a typical like schedule that you had in one of the past semesters?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first semester of freshman year, it was an early 8:30 a.m. ballet class on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would immediately sprint back to my dorm, shower, and then go to acting class, which was in the same building as ballet. It's really nice at PACE because you do get the well-rounded education of like your conservatory style performing arts training, but also your like liberal arts credits within the university. So I would be taking ballet, acting, and critical writing all in one day. And I would also have music theory classes and voice lessons that were one-on-one. So it was a lot of different areas to choose from within either performing arts or liberal arts.
Cool, great, thank you so much. So at this point, I want to thank all of our panelists, Nicolette, Cyrielle, Sahar, Leah, Vicente, Chris. Thank you so much for telling us about your experience at PACE and what it's like to be a PACE student. You're all very high achieving. I'm very excited to hear about what you do in the future. At this point, we're going to turn it over to our two associate directors, Jacqueline Hall, Sal Aloja. So Jackie and Sal are going to kind of go through the college application, kind of give you some advice and tell you how to best use that part of the admission process. So at this point, I will turn it over to Jackie and Sal.
Thank you so much, Morgan, and to all of our student tour guides and our panelists. You all have been fantastic today. So Sal and I are here to speak with you a little bit more about what the college application process looks like and what to expect. We know that in this period of online learning and virtual learning, there's a lot of questions and just a little anxiousness out there. So we wanted to take the time to just go through the college application process and explain it a little bit more in depth and hopefully answer some of your questions. Now this presentation isn't all about PACE, it's more about college applications, and we'll talk about PACE, but we're hoping that this can help provide you some more information. So as Morgan said, my name is Jacqueline Hall. I'm the Associate Director of Undergraduate Admission on the New York City campus. I've been in college admissions for about 10 years, and I've worked for 4 different universities or colleges. And I'd like to introduce my wonderful colleague, Sal Aloja.
Hi everyone, my name is Salvatore Loja. I'm the Associate Director on PACE's Westchester campus. If you are going to high school in Westchester or Rockland counties, I'm your admissions counselor and here to walk you through your application process. I've been working in admissions for about 9 years across 4 different universities.
All right, great. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, Sal, would you like to talk a little bit about the agenda for today?
Of course. So we know that the college application process can seem a little daunting. So what Jackie and I want to do is break this long, daunting process down into individual components in order to help students not feel so overwhelmed, and also how to identify what they should be doing during each component. So the first component is really what today serves. It's looking at what colleges you may be interested in, seeing what you want to get from your college experience, and making a list of schools that you want to submit your application to, which is the next component, the application process. So we're going to be discussing how do you actually apply and how are you going to be evaluated throughout the review process. Next component is after you've received your decisions, you've received your financial aid, going back and thinking about what you want to get out of your college experience and how to make your decision about what school you're going to be attending for the next upcoming years and calling that college your home. And throughout that process, discussing what resources are available to you, whether they be your admissions counselor or your school counselor, to make sure that you don't get lost along the way.
All right, so let's talk about that first step in the process, which is searching. So you all are already ahead of the game by attending our summer visit day today. And so searching is really coming up with that list of colleges that you're applying to. So a lot of that process is doing introspection about what you want out of your college experience. So would you like to attend a college that's more urban or suburban or rural? Would you like to go to a large school or small school? If you have a major in mind, does that college or university offer your major? Other questions you really should be asking yourself as well are questions about academics. So what are the college and university's average GPA, average SAT, average ACT? Are they test optional? And by asking questions like that, you can compare those averages to what your GPA is and what your test scores are to see if you would be a good academic fit for the university or if that school might be a safety school or a reach school. What you should also be asking yourself right now is about financial fit. So throughout every part of the process, you really need to be having open and honest conversations with your families or your caregivers or friends that might be helping you through the application process about financially what you can afford to put towards your college tuition, because that will be a big question later on in the process, and you want to be sure that you are having those questions as soon as possible so that when you build that list, you have colleges that can both support you academically, that can help you thrive socially, but can also be a good fit for you financially. What I also do want to mention before we head on to the next slide is visiting virtually. So we know that this is a very different format. We would love to be welcoming you on campus, but due to virtual learning, we are welcoming you virtually. So as you're looking at that college list, go on their website, see if they're offering tours, virtual opportunities to meet with counselors, but that should also be a part of your search process.
Okay, so now you have the list of schools that you feel like would be a good fit for you, that you want to attend, that have the majors, that have the location that you want. So the next step is to apply to those schools. So we're going to be discussing really two forms of applying to college. The first being the common application. And you may have heard about the common application from your school counselor, but what the common application is, it's a lengthy application that can be sent to over 700 different colleges and universities. So on average, students would say, I would say, take around 60 to 90 minutes to complete their actual application on the Common App, as it asks a lot of detailed questions. It asks for your biographical and demographical information, your family information, your family's educational background, what high school courses you've taken, any APs, any honors, any dual enrollment courses, as well as school supplemental information. So for PACE, that can be questions like, do you have a sibling applying? Do you have a family member who currently attends or has attended? Are you looking to live on campus or off campus? So the common application is great because it allows for students to input a lot of information and be sent to a multitude of different schools. Another way to apply is by using a school-specific application. For an instance, the PACE application. So these school applications are often much shorter. They can take around about between 15 and 30 minutes to complete, and they're really asking questions that are really only relevant to that school. So although it's shorter, it can only be sent to that school. So for example, if you're filling out the PACE application, that application would only go towards admission for PACE University. Often, as counselors, we're asked if we prefer one application over the other, and we typically don't have a preference if students use the common application or our school-specific application, really just that you apply and that you apply by the deadline.
Right, so when are those deadlines? There are a lot of different deadlines that you have to be aware of when you are creating your list and you end up deciding where you would like to apply for college. So at Pace University, we offer early decision, early action, regular decision, and then we also have program-specific deadlines. Now at other colleges and universities, these could be very similar, they could be the same, they could be very different. Other types of ways to apply to the university, or not to PACE, but to other colleges and universities include plans like restrictive early action or rolling admission, which we included on our slide, which we don't offer at PACE, but that's an example of what you might encounter at other colleges on your list. So these deadlines can be very hard deadlines, right? So you want to be sure that you're staying organized and that you know if I'm applying early decision to PACE, I need to be submitting my application on time so that you can get your decision on time and be able to be considered for that early decision plan. Now, one of the things that Sal and I wanted to point out is the differences between all of these plans. So early decision is for students who are bleeding blue and yellow. They love blue and yellow. They only can see themselves at PACE. You are committed to attending if you are accepted early decision. So binding means that by applying to a school early decision, you are agreeing to enroll if you are admitted. So if you are accepted early decision, you must contact any other colleges you apply to and withdraw your applications. Now the other plans are not binding. So early decision is for, or early action is for students who really love PACE. They get to want to know their academic decision a little bit earlier, but they want to have the option to explore other schools as a part of their list. So if you are really excited about PACE and you want to apply early action, we really, really welcome that because you do get to know your decision a little bit earlier without that binding agreement. And then of course there's regular decision. Now these program-specific deadlines are essential. So if you have a major in mind, so for example, like performing arts, for PACE, our performing arts deadline is very strict. So for us, it's December 15th. If you apply on December 16th, we will not be accepting your application for performing arts and you would have to choose another major. So that's why it's really important to keep track of these deadlines to make sure that you are staying on track to apply for and be considered for the majors that you're really interested in at PACE and at other schools and universities.
So you apply to schools that you're interested in, and the next step is to get evaluated. So at PACE, we practice what's called the holistic application review, which means we look at every aspect of your application, starting with the application itself, through the essay, letters of rec, extracurriculars, and your academic achievements. And we review every application individually 1, 2, sometimes 3 times. So every application is read by a counselor. And we often start with your college essay. Your college essay really is your chance for us to get to know you better, for you to share your story that is not obvious throughout your transcript or any other piece of your application materials. And I know that this can often be seen as the most overwhelming or nerve-wracking part, so I want to share just a few tips on how to write your college essay. So first and foremost really is use your own voice and tell your own story. Don't write about something that you think that will impress us, that you're not passionate about. We found that the best essays come from a part of an area of passion, and when students are using their own voice, their own vocabulary. So don't try to impress us with words that you may not use on a daily basis. It doesn't come across as authentic. Checking your spelling and grammar. So some tips for that is once you proofread your essay, read it out loud to yourself. You'll catch a lot more grammar issues. Write your application on a laptop and not an iPhone. Spell check is a wonderful tool. We use it as professionals, but sometimes the iPhones and the Androids won't catch some spelling errors or auto-correct it to something.
It looks like we may have lost Sal, which is okay. So I'll continue with his slide. As he was saying, so when you're writing your essay, we really encourage you to look at and write your essay on a laptop or on a desktop computer. If you're writing it on your phone to begin with, that's okay, but autocorrect, as Sal was just about to say, is your best friend and your worst enemy. I love autocorrect, but if it's correcting a word that's technically spelled the right way, it won't pick on that as incorrect. So feel free to do that first draft on your phone, but please reread it and make sure that you're looking at it on a desktop or laptop so you can catch those mistakes. So your extracurricular activities. In addition to your essay, this is another part of your application where we really get to know you as a student outside of your transcript. We understand that your extracurricular activities may and probably were impacted when you all went virtual. And so what PACE does is we read your application holistically. So we understand that some extracurricular activities or perhaps your high school curriculum were impacted when we moved virtual, and that's okay. We'll work with you and we understand that. What you can do though, when you're creating your extracurricular activity section, is be creative and make sure that you're including things that you did throughout your high school career, not even just in school sanctioned programs, but you can also look at things like, have you been supporting a sibling with making sure they're getting their tutoring and classes done during this period of online learning? Are you helping with a family member? Do you have a part-time job? So do you work 20 hours per week? Those are things that may not be through your high school, but are equally as important to include in your extracurricular activities section because they show leadership and they show the qualities that we would love to have represented in our PACE community. So your letters of recommendation. These are obviously letters that your teachers or your community members are writing on your behalf to help us get to know you a little bit better. So these are just some do's and don'ts when thinking about your letters of recommendation. So for us, for admission counselors, when we're reading applications, I think the best piece of advice that we can give you would be to make sure that you're abiding by what's required. So if we ask for 1 to 3 letters of recommendation, please send 1 to 3 letters of recommendation. Please don't send 10 or 15 letters of recommendation. And when you're asking your teachers to write letters of recommendation for you, be sure that you're smart about who you're asking. So for example, if you are interested in a pre-med program, it might be good for you to ask a biology, a math, or even an AP psych teacher to write you a letter of recommendation so that you can show your college or university that you've done the exploration of that career path. Or perhaps, maybe if you're looking at your transcript and you really struggled in 9th grade in math, but you've really put a lot of work into making sure that you can improve your math classes and improve in your math ability, you might actually want to ask your 11th grade math teacher if you've really improved from 9th to 11th grade in a certain area. That might be a teacher that you ask to write a letter of recommendation because that teacher can really write to how you've improved and how you've used those resources. Another thing that's important is to abide by the deadlines that your high school puts out there. So some high school counselors and college counselors will ask you to submit requests for letters of recommendation by a certain date. It's really important that you abide by those dates and pay attention to what your high school is asking of you. You do not want to request a letter of recommendation the day before it's due because chances are you're not going to get it and you're not going to meet the deadline potentially. So So planning ahead and making sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted are really important in this regard. Okay, so a little bit about your high school transcript. This is like the last big piece of the application, in addition to your standardized test scores. So your high school transcript and standardized test scores are academically the bulk of what we'll see. As I was saying earlier in regards to extracurricular activities, we also know that high school curriculums and high school classes may have been impacted with moving virtual. So one of the things that high schools do for admissions offices is that when they submit your transcript, they send us something called a school profile. And that school profile teaches us all about your high school curriculum, so that when we look at your high school transcript, we're looking at your high school transcript within the context of the curriculum that you're attending. So I work with students from Brooklyn and Manhattan, and a really good example of this is, when I'm reading an application from Brooklyn Tech, I'm familiar with Brooklyn Tech High School's curriculum versus a high school, Harlem Village Academy. Their curriculum is different than Brooklyn Tech. Harlem Village Academy, they send me a school profile so that when I read applications from that high school, I know what's available to those students. So we have the context of what's provided to you, and we read your application within that context. When we look at transcripts, we look at your overall GPA, weighted or unweighted. We look at the types of classes that you've taken. So have you taken honors, AP, IB? The school profile will also tell us if your school offers honors, AP, and IB, so we'll look at it within the context of your high school. We'll look at trend, so whether you have an upward trend or a downward trend, or whether you've stayed steady. And then we'll consider your rank if the high school provides that. And we won't hold it against you if your high school does not provide rank in your transcript. We will look at it only if it's provided. Program specific. There are some programs that do require classes at the high school level. For Pace University, an example of that is our nursing program, which is only offered on our Pleasantville campus. But we do, for our nursing program, require biology or living environment and chemistry classes in high school. So if you have a major in mind, especially those in the sciences or STEM, it's important to look at, are the colleges or universities on your list, do they require certain math or science classes that you've taken in high school or not? And that can even help you narrow down your list even further. And on that note, I'll pass it back to Sal to talk about standardized test scores.
Thanks, Jackie. So the next part of your academic information is standardized test scores. So this would either be the SAT or the ACT. So if you're unaware what the difference is, the SAT tests students on reading, writing and language, and math, whereas the ACT tests students on reading, English, math, and science. PACE's average SAT score is an 1146, and our average ACT score is a 24. Very similarly to questions we get about what type of application, if we prefer one or the other, we don't. So if you feel more confident with the SAT versus the ACT, you can choose to submit whatever scores you would like, or submit all the scores that you've taken. You may have heard the term superscore before, and what superscoring means is that we will consider the highest score possible. So if you've taken, let's say, the SAT twice, and you scored higher on the math section one time and higher on the English section the second time, we will take the highest of both exams and add them together. As admissions, we're always looking to give the student the best possible chance, so we want to give you your highest scores. Another type of exam is the SAT-2s, or the SAT subject tests. Now, Pace University does not require the SAT-2s, so as you're looking through your list of schools to apply to, I would recommend checking their website to see if any of them do require the SAT-2s, whether for general admissions or for a specific major. The SAT subject tests focus on either English, history, math, science, or foreign language. Now, Pace University is a test optional college. We went test optional for our fall 2020 school, so we're in our second cycle. So if you feel that your test scores do not reflect your academic ability, it's okay. You can choose not to submit them. If you're unsure Really what that means, best rule of thumb is looking at the average scores that PACE advertises. And if you're around there, you're a little bit higher, you're a little bit lower, and you feel you want to submit your test scores, you can. If you're again uncertain, that's where your relationship with your admission counselor comes into play. You can always ask them for their recommendation. Now, we understand that there has been some challenges with sitting for the exams. So if you have not been able to take the SAT or ACT, and you feel that your GPA, your extracurriculars, your essay, and your letters of rec are strong, you can choose to submit them as test optional. Students are still able to receive merit scholarships. You're still able to receive admission into our honors college. And we are still reevaluating some of our other programs like nursing or the combined business programs to see how we can work test optional for those as well. But again, your test scores are just your numbers. We really look at your high school transcript, as we feel that the last 4 years is going to show us how well you're going to do the next 4 years.
All right, so you've requested your letters of recommendation, you've sat for the SAT or ACT, or you didn't, that's okay too. You've written your essay, and now what? So depending on what program you're interested in, you should also consider what additional information you need to submit. So for Pace University, what that would mean is that if you're interested in the performing or visual arts, there is additional information that you need to submit in order to be considered for that program. And again, if you do not submit them, you would not be considered. So it's really important to take the responsibility to make sure that you check everything off on that list. So for PACE, additional information would mean for the performing arts or visual arts, that pre-screen, and then after the pre-screen, if you pass, we would invite you to audition, or that portfolio for the BFA in art program. Once you've built your college list, you can also look at the top 3 colleges on your list and see if they offer interviews. This isn't specific to the performing arts. This can be any major. I used to work for an institution that didn't require interviews, but really encouraged them. And when we met with students, it was a great opportunity for us to get to know the student a little bit better. And it's an opportunity for the student to get to know us a little bit better, so you can get your questions answered. So once you have that list of schools, look at your top 3, go up on their websites, and if they have opportunities to interview with either an admission counselor or an alumni, I really encourage you to do that for your top schools. There are a lot of ways for you to find your admission counselor. So a lot of the questions that we've been getting is, who do I know who my admission counselor is, or how do I find that on the website? So for PACE, I'm sure one of our admission counselors can drop that in the chat for us. But what you can do is in a Google search, you can put the name of the university and contact my admission counselor, and more often than not, the page will pop up and you'll be able to search for them by state. But each state or each county or city has a designated admission counselor for you to help you through this process. So for your top schools, it would be really great to connect with them.
Okay, so you submitted your application and you waited what feels like a lifetime, and then you get that letter either in the mail or electronically with your decision. So I want to talk about a little bit about the decisions that you could receive from the different colleges, just so everyone understands what they could mean. So the first one is admitted. That's the one that everyone wants. Congratulations, you've been accepted to university. Even with being admitted, read your admissions letter very carefully. Make sure that you are admitted into the program that you applied to, because sometimes for some majors, you may be academically admissible to university, but not the specific program if that specific program requires additional information or additional scoring. Also in your admissions letter, most often will be your scholarship. So you want to understand, what was I accepted to university, and what does my merit scholarship look like? Another type of decision is being what's called deferred. What deferred means is that your application was reviewed, and during that application process, it was determined by the committee that we would like to see additional information in order to make a decision. Most often, this would be your senior year grades. So you may not be admitted, if you apply early action, we couldn't make a decision for you then. Once your senior year grades come out, your mid-year grades, then we can make a decision often in February once they become available. Another type of decision is waitlisted. So you may have met the academic requirements, however, there's no more space in the university or your program. This often can happen if students apply later. Even if you are waitlisted, schools will look at demonstrated interest in determining on how to move students off the waitlist when spaces become available. And then lastly, the final decision is denied. And obviously we know students don't like to get denied from their colleges. However, we do want students to still reach out to their admissions counselor if that is your dream school, and talk about maybe why your application wasn't as strong and what are the possibilities of transferring to that college. Pace University is very transfer friendly. So when students are denied, we work really closely with them on, for the next year, what classes you should take so you can still enroll at Pace and graduate within 3 years after applying. So it may not be a no, it may be a not now, but that's what your admissions counselors are here, is to make sure that you understand your decisions.
All right, so a little bit about financial aid. I want to acknowledge that this part of the presentation could be an entire presentation in and of itself. So throughout the fall, we are going to have webinars specifically for financial aid to help you answer your questions. But this presentation for now is just going to focus on, generally speaking, what you should be doing today in order to make sure that you're prepared for October and November for when you start receiving your admission decisions back. So just like the academic application, it's really important that you stay organized. So there's a few different financial aid applications that you have to be aware of. One is a scholarship application. Now for Pace University, we do not have a separate application for merit scholarships. When you apply to Pace, you are automatically considered for merit scholarship. However, that's not always the case for other colleges and universities. Sometimes the Common App or the university application is the academics, and then they require a separate application for merit. So that's a really important question to ask. There is also the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. There's the CSS profile, and then there's the verification process. At Pace, we only require the FAFSA out of this list. We do not require the scholarship application, and we do not require a CSS profile. Verification is a process that will happen later on, and verification means that if you submit the FAFSA, the federal government may ask you to submit additional paperwork, like to confirm your parent income or to confirm student income. So it's really important to have all of your financial documents in one folder to keep yourself organized in that regard. The first day to file your FAFSA is October 1st, so that will be open in early October. What you can also do right now is to stay prepared. So even though the FAFSA is not open yet, what you can do is use a net price calculator. So a net price calculator is a way for you to get an estimate of your financial aid package. Every college and university is required to have a net price calculator on their website. So if you search Pace University net price calculator, it will bring you to that page and you'll be able to use it. What I really like about Pace is, in addition to the net price calculator, we also have a merit scholarship estimator. So you can put in your academic information and it will let you know roughly what kind of scholarship you could be eligible for if you're admitted to the university. So by using the net price calculator and the merit scholarship calculator, you can have an idea of what to expect when you get your financial aid package. So if you're accepted to Pace, you would submit your FAFSA, and then usually we start submitting FAFSAs out to families early in the new year. but you'll be able to review that, and we'll have additional webinars to help walk you through and answer any questions that you may have. And then of course, it's important to stay active and feel comfortable asking questions, both of you and your families, but also of the colleges and universities. So we are here to help you through the process, and we are here to help you navigate the financial aid process as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions.
Okay, so now you're at the final step. You decided what schools to apply to, you submitted your applications, you went through the evaluation process, and you got your decisions back. So now really it's all on you on making your decision. So we want you to go back and we want you to think about what you were looking to get out of your college experience, and what were your experiences during your virtual or later on campus visits. So you're looking at what schools do I like, what schools were I accepted to, what schools are within my family budget, and you start narrowing it down. So you may have had 20 schools on your list of schools to apply to. Let's say you got accepted to all of them because you're rock stars. 10 are within your family's budget, but you're really only looking at 5 that are your top choices. So we encourage you to come back and take another, either a virtual presentation or an on-campus opportunity to engage with us on social media, to talk with your admissions counselor, or talk to our tour guides or other current students, and engage with faculty. Colleges offer a lot of visit experiences, so it may be a personalized campus tour, it may be a large PACE-bound event or accept student event, it may be a day in the life of a student event. Do your research and decide for you what college is best for you. We strongly encourage May 1, the National College Decision Day, for you to let us know that you are going to be a PACE setter next year. It's going to be a tough decision, but it's going to be a good decision, and you want to make sure that you end up at the college that is going to give you the best college experience. And from today, PACE offers a lot, and we're here to help you with your application process.
All right, on that note, thank you all for attending our presentation. If you have questions, here's our general contact information. Feel free to drop them in the chat as well, and we can follow up with you. But at this point, I'm going to hand the mic over to Helene Cruz, our Director of Career Services on our New York City campus, and Helene is going to talk to you about interviewing.
Great, thank you so much, Jackie. My name's Helene Cruz. As Jackie mentioned, I'm the Director of Career Services here on the New York City campus, and I am happy to be here today and happy to see so many of you tuned in so early, getting a head start. So what we do in Career Services is we prepare students, undergraduate, graduate students, alumni who come back, who graduated. We do preparation and we help place students in internships and full-time opportunities. So what I want to do today is give you a little taste of one of the workshops that we offer students, and this may come in handy for some of you, and maybe some of you have already had the experience because maybe you've done some virtual interviewing, especially after we have all been on pause. Majority of us have been working from home. So virtual interviewing. Online. So want to give this presentation and give you some helpful hints, and let's get started. What we want to do today basically is talk about a few things. Why virtual interviews are popular, increasingly popular, obviously because a lot of us are, because of the pause, we've been working from home. So a lot of interviews are being done online. As opposed to the traditional going to someone's office and meeting them face to face. I want to talk a little bit about the types of virtual interviews, a couple of different types. One of them is a pre-recorded versus something that's live, which is similar to what we're doing here today. We also want to talk about tips. I want to give you some tips on how to be successful in your virtual interview. And maybe some of you can share if you've done some virtual interviews. What happens the day of the interview? Let's come up with an action plan. post-interview, what happens afterwards, and then next steps, how to practice. Our goal is for you to come to PACE and not only take this workshop, which is going to be the 2.0, but also take all of the workshops, the required workshops to work with us, the recommended workshops. So we just really wanted to give you a taste with something that would be very helpful. Between now and the time that you graduate, you may be doing an interview online just like this, okay? So we'll continue. Let me ask you this, how many of you have been on a virtual interview already? Great, good to hear it. It could be a little nerve-wracking, especially if you haven't done it. Practice makes perfect. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm not going to go over all of these points, but video interviews have been increasingly popular and even more so now. What really happens is that for the employer, the person hiring you from the company, it removes bias. It gives the employer the opportunity to record candidates and really give them a consistent experience. It saves an employer time. You know, they don't have to go traveling. They don't have to bring candidates in, saves money. It really is easy to implement because we're all savvy in technology now. And it really shows that a number of companies now, even for internships, so get ready, you guys are going to be interning if you're not doing it already in high school. It shows that a number of companies are using this as their very first step to the interview process, especially now. Really, that's the first step, is to really get to know someone either pre-recorded, as we're going to talk about, or a virtual live. Now, what we mean by online virtual is something like a Zoom, a Skype. Some employers use FaceTime, Google Hangouts, or other third-party vendors to do the interview live. And then the second interview is a one-way recording, which saves the interviewer time, where they may send you a link and then have you answer some questions. You won't see someone on the other side, but you'll record your answers and hit send, and they'll be able to view that later on. So that maybe they could view like 5 to 10 interviews back to back to get the comparison to see who's the best candidate. So these are the two types of video interviews. The pre-recorded, as I mentioned, is that one-sided. You're not interacting, so you're just looking into the camera and answering the questions. Can be a little nerve-wracking, but career services, most career services offices should be offering some prep for you. I don't know if your high schools, if your guidance counselors do this, but you really want to prepare. Again, has anybody done a pre-recorded interview? If we could show hands, raise hands. Anyone out there? Okay, I see 5, 7, more than that. It's a little nerve-wracking sometimes, but again, practice makes perfect. You got to get in it. You got to be in it. They may ask you on the pre-recorded if you can solve a problem. They may give you a case study. Here's a scenario. We want you to answer it in 2 minutes or less. And then you have to say your answer, and maybe you can re-record it again or not. But it's one-sided in that you don't see another person. It's not an interactive type of thing. So that might work better for you or not, but that is one type of interview. But we want to talk about that live interview. We want to give you 6 tips for a successful virtual interview, which is live. We want to talk live. So the 6 things you want to think about are testing your technology, the location, dressing for success, even though it's online, you want to dress the part, your body language and eye contact, the interview itself, and then practicing so that you can be really successful when you get in there. So first thing, testing the technology, so important to do. I signed on a little bit early today, even though this is not an interview, but it's a presentation. So I wanted to make sure I was on okay, that I wasn't going to get bounced off, that my PowerPoint worked. You want to do the same thing when you're interviewing. You want to sign on a little bit ahead of time and make sure, okay, I'm not familiar with this technology. Let me get on ahead of time. Maybe you'll need to download some software in advance if you don't have that technology. Before we started doing online, I really wasn't familiar with Zoom, so I had to find my way. So I wasn't going to do that the day of the interview. I wanted to do it. You want to do that beforehand. You want to test your internet connection. Make sure that the battery on your laptop, or if you're using your cell phone, is fully charged. You'd be surprised that, you know, you really want to have everything in order, because this is an interview. Even if it's for a part-time job, even if it's for an internship, it's an interview. You want to be prepared to make that great first impression. Maybe you want to do some training calls or test calls with your friends. If you know the software that the employer is going to use, usually they send it to you ahead of time. Maybe you can ask a friend, hey, let's sign on to Zoom, or let's do a Google Hangout and practice. I've done that before. It's like, let's test it out to see if the microphone works, if the video works. So it's great to do that ahead of time. You want to make sure that you close any streaming, or maybe make sure your Wi-Fi, if it slows you down, that maybe you turn it off if you're not using your cell, if you're using your laptop. Again, you want to make sure you're ready to go and there's no interference. And then do a quick test in the morning too. Make sure the mic is working, the camera, everything to be picture perfect. So that really is the testing of the technology. And let's take to the next point. You want to make sure that your location, wherever you are interviewing, that it's clean and uncluttered, that you have good lighting. You want to make sure whatever's behind you is neat, it's not cluttered, there's not a lot of activity going on. Again, anything that's going to be a distraction, you want to make sure is in order. The lighting, make sure that there's good light, that they can see you. You want to make sure that there's no shadows and that your face is well lit. You really want to make sure that they're paying attention to you and not the distractions in the background. A lot of the times, I know with Zoom especially, they have virtual backgrounds, or a way that you can blur your background if you're not happy with your setting, or maybe you have a cluttered setting and you want to use a virtual background. I know, again, Zoom has them, but you want to make sure they're not too busy or not too fun. You want to keep it conservative, keep it bland, so to speak. So you can do a touch up your appearance on the settings in a Zoom. I know Zoom has that, and you're all using Zoom now. So that seems to be one of the more popular platforms that employers are using, the Zoom feature to do interviews. Again, there's others, there's Microsoft Teams, there's Google, the Google Meets, the Google Duos. They all run similarly, but again, you want to make sure that your background, if you could blur out your background or have a virtual background, if that works better for you, that's great. A lot of you, and now you're in high school and you've taken your classes online, and I commend you on that, because sometimes that's difficult to do, especially if you've never done it before. That adjustment period may have been a little tough for you. Now, some of you are living, you have siblings, you have people at home, maybe you don't have a house, maybe you're in an apartment, or you're in a room and it's really tight, there's a lot going on. You want to make sure, to the best of your ability, that there's no interruptions. If you have pets, if you have the cell phone, the home phone, if there's noise going on, put the word out to whoever's home saying, listen, I have an interview at such and such a time. If you have roommates, make sure that in whatever space that you're using, that you want to make sure it's noise free. Even if you have to put, like in the hotels, that do not disturb sign on the doorknob or whatever, that's being a little cute with that, but you really want to make sure that you have your privacy and that you're not interrupted. Now, again, things happen, and that's okay, people understand, but to the best of your ability, you want to make sure that you don't have the interruptions. If you have noises going on, there's noise machines, or maybe on your cell phone, you can download an app that gives you that the white noise in the back, the white noise machine. So you're not hearing if there's construction going on outside or something of that sort, that you kind of drowning that out so they can hear you, okay? So your location is important when you interview. You want to dress for success. Now, you're doing an online interview, so you're probably saying, why do I have to dress up? You want to play the part, even though you're not going to someone's office and doing a live interview. You only have one chance to make a great first impression. So you want to wear that suit. You want to get suited up. If it's an internship, you know, you want to make sure you're going neutral. You want to keep it darker colors, more conservative. Make sure you're ironed, everything's clean and neat, your hair, nails, everything neat. Like right now, my hair is a little bit in my face, but you want to make sure that everything is in place that's not to distract or take away from you and what you're saying. You want to make sure you're not playing with your hair. You know, be mindful of that. Sometimes we don't even know that we have a habit of twirling our hair or playing with our hair. All the more reason to do a practice interview, whether it's somebody, a colleague, a classmate, a counselor in your high school. When you get to PACE, you can work with us and do that to practice as many times as you need. You want to make sure that you're aware of these little things that may come up that may be a distraction. Keep the hair away from your face, pull it back maybe. You want to err on the side of being more conservative. So if it's a place where maybe people dress down, maybe it's kind of come as you are, but you want to make sure when you're interviewing, you're professional, you're looking your best. And then when you get the job, when you learn more about the dress code and the culture of the company, then you can switch over. But when you're doing the interview, dress it up. You always want to dress it up. When in doubt, keep it more conservative. Your body language and your eye contact, very important. Now, you want to make sure that you're not using distracting gestures. Now, I have a tendency, and I know this for many years, I'm a hand talker. I get very excited when I'm talking, and that's great. That's great to show energy level and enthusiasm, but you don't want to go too crazy with it. So you want to be aware of if you have a habit of maybe using your hands too much. Maybe you want to fold your hands and use them every now and then. If you have a habit of slouching or fidgeting, moving around in your seat, regardless if it's a pre-recorded or a live video, you want to make sure that you're aware of these little nuances so that you can correct them and be as mindful as you can about them to try to avoid. You want to make sure your camera is at eye level and check the audio, look into the camera. The natural tendency, and again, I'm on Zoom calls all day, as well as my admissions colleagues. A lot of us in the audience are on Zoom with a lot of our meetings. And our tendency really is to look at the boxes. If it's a Zoom call or what have you, if there's one interviewer or many, our tendency is to look at the boxes and look at the people, because that's what we do. That's what we would do in a live interview. However, you want to look into the camera because the camera is straight ahead. You're giving them your attention. You're giving them the eye contact. You want to make sure you're not so close to the camera or not so far away. Make it just right. Again, your counselors can help you. When you get to PACE, we're going to help you, and we can do one with you. We can do a practice with you. The interview itself, you want to make sure that your tone, your rate of speech, your volume of speech is well patterned. You don't want to be speaking too fast. You don't want to be too soft or too loud. You want to be just right. And you don't want to rush your answers, especially if it's pre-recorded. You don't want to rush. Let's say they give you 2 minutes and you're done in 20 seconds, and then the timer is still going. If it's that type of recording, you really want to make sure you kind of space it out and you're thoughtful. The live interview, when you see the other person, whether it's a Zoom or another platform, the live interview are the conversations. So you want to make sure, especially if you're with others, that you pace yourself and you speak slowly and clearly and you have a dialogue. You have a conversation with the other person or the other people. If there's more than one, you want to get the flow going and have that conversation and make it smooth. Again, make sure that we said check everything beforehand. Make sure your meeting ID and your password, the time of the interview, the interview, the date of the interview, the time zone, that everything is checked beforehand and that you're logging on at least 5 minutes ahead of time. You want to make sure that you're giving, you can't really shake their hand because it is a virtual interview, but you want to give them a digital handshake, which is really looking into the camera and saying, hi, my name is Helene, very nice to meet you. Just to give that look and that reassurance that you're in it, that you're really ready to go. Again, you want to make sure that you're looking into the camera, but if it works for you, what you may want to do is move the interview, the face box of the people that you're interviewing with or the person, move the box closer to the camera so you can feel as if you're talking to that person, even though you're looking in the camera. If the other person is speaking, you don't want to interrupt. And nonverbals are very important. So if you're nodding as they're talking, if you're smiling, if you're agreeing with them, it's great. It's great to engage them in that way, to show your interest and your enthusiasm. If you want to take notes, you may want to say, would you mind if I take some notes as we're talking? And then when you're done with what you're saying, you could say, that's all, or thank you, and then offer it back to them to ask their next question. And don't be afraid. If you don't understand something, say, can you clarify that? Can you give me a little bit more information? Let me see if I'm understanding you correctly. Though that's okay to ask for clarification, to make sure that you're clear on what they're asking. So that's very important to do. Video interviewing is a conversation. Like I said, you want to make sure it's flowing and that you have that nice engagement with the people that you're meeting. But you don't want to be too familiar or too relaxed. You know, the person who's bringing you in or the interviewers, maybe, you know, maybe they're relaxed with you and they're joking with you, breaking the ice with some nice conversation, but that doesn't mean you know them and that you're cool with them and that you could just let it all hang out. You want to make sure you're maintaining your cool and that you're professional, okay? And you want to practice. You want to practice. It's so important to practice. So what you want to do is research where you're interviewing, what type of position this is, why you're the best candidate. You know, you really want to just get some more information on it. And again, you can get help with that from your counselors. And then once you come to PACE, we help you with that. We help you research companies and really tune in into what you want to ask them. And you want to practice, you know, questions. Some of the questions that are common, they're called behavioral questions that an interviewer may ask you. You want to practice those. And we do that here at PACE. Record yourself. I've done that. I have done that. I've recorded myself on Zoom and then played it back to see how I sound. Am I speaking too fast? Am I too loud? And then I play it back and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really sound like that? But it's good to do that. It's good to play it back and say, I hesitated there a little bit. I say, like, you know, those filler words. I say that a lot. Let me be more mindful when I speak and when I interview, not to do that as much. It's good to do some practice. And then LinkedIn. There is, how many of you know LinkedIn? Can we get a show of hands, LinkedIn? Can we raise hands? Wow, okay, we got a bunch. All right, a gang of, wow. All right, I'm glad that many, it's like in the 50s, many of you know LinkedIn because we promote LinkedIn. We teach individual sessions, we do group sessions. LinkedIn is so important because it is a professional network. It is a job and internship board, and it also has a feature. I'm going to flip to the next slide in a few. It also has a feature where you can practice interviewing, and it gives you interview questions and how to answer them. So I'm going to show you how to access that shortly. But the interview day itself, you want to make sure you're dressed professionally, check your internet, turn on your equipment 10 to 15 minutes early. Like I said earlier, you want to make sure you're testing it. Turn your cell phone off or on mute or vibrate. Make sure the pets or distractions are out of the way to the best of your ability. Follow the lead of the person who's interviewing you. Let them lead you. Stay focused, and then thank them. Thank them, say thank you, and post-interview, you want to send a thank you to them. You want to send a thank you email. And this is just a sample, and we can provide this template for you, the PowerPoint for you to review. You want to send a thank you to the person who has interviewed you. So your subject line will be a thank you for whatever interview and your name, and then an email that's 4 to 8 sentences that gives your appreciation, talks a little bit more about your interest in the position and the department, the skills and the qualifications that you have. This is your chance to remind them, hey, this is what we talked about. I really want to support that I'm the best person here. You wouldn't say that, obviously, but you want to give support as to why they want to consider you. And then maybe provide additional information to them, maybe that you didn't say in the interview. And attach, if your LinkedIn profile is great, and we can check it for you once you're at PACE, attach a copy of your LinkedIn profile. Or if you have a portfolio, if you're in a more creative space or creative major, you can put a link in if you want them to see your work. Definitely you can include that. So definitely thank the people who are interviewing you and follow up, get their business cards or their email addresses and do a thank you to them. Very important, whether it's a virtual interview or once we go in person again, you want to thank the people who are taking the time to meet you. And then next steps, as I mentioned, LinkedIn, and then we can take a few questions. LinkedIn has a video interview practice. So if you go on to LinkedIn, and this gives you the steps, you'll click jobs, track my jobs, see all questions, and then it gives you 26 common interview questions, how to record and how to send it to yourself. And then others, maybe you want to send it to a few others that you're connected to on LinkedIn to view it with you. Very important to do. So it's the left click onto jobs, track my jobs, see all questions. And then it'll give you those interview questions to practice on. Very important to do it. And I highly recommend that you do that. This is our information. We're here to help you once you enroll at PACE. We have practice interviews, we help students informational interviews, and we have materials for you on our website and then materials we can send you. So our email address is there, careers@pace.edu. Our phone numbers are there, but if I have some time, I can take a few questions. I feel like I didn't grab every question, so my apologies. And again, my email address, I can pop it up into the chat. You just have to mention that you were here. So I know. My name again is Helene Cruz, and it's hcruz@pace.edu. You could just mention that you were on this session. If you have career services related questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I was over here adjusting my posture, checking out my background, making sure
I'm fixing my hair in the
exactly. So, but thank you so much for taking the time, going through the interview process for all these prospective students. I'm sure they got as much out of it as I did.
I hope so. It was just a little taste of what we do in career services. We do so much. Resume, interview, networking, LinkedIn, job search, you name it. We will help you. So career service is there for you from the beginning, even before you get here at sessions like this, through when you're an alumni. out there working. If you want to come back, if you need some help in the search, or if you're, you just need career service, we're here for you. So turning it back to Morgan.
Thanks so much. Well, yeah, just to wrap things up, first off, thank you to all of our speakers, our tour guides, our panelists, to all of you for taking time out of your schedules to learn more about what PACE has to offer. We hope this gave you a better idea of what it's like to learn and live on our campus. If you're looking for more ways to connect with PACE, we offer virtual information sessions and tours every day of the week except for Sundays on both campuses. And we also recently started driving tours of our Westchester campus, and soon we're going to be launching walking tours of our Manhattan campus. As well as that, we're hoping to reintroduce in-person tours hosted by our tour guides at some point in the next few months. I would recommend just keeping an eye on our website for announcements about all of those things, along with the larger open houses that we do host in the fall as well. Just a reminder, by attending this event today, you will be receiving an application fee waiver for any applications submitted this fall to PACE. You will be receiving an email in the next 24 to 48 hours that has that fee waiver, so just keep an eye on your inbox. And to sign off, thank you again for attending. We're going to leave the chat open for a few moments while we finish answering any final questions that are in there. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we look forward to hosting you again soon. Bye for now.